If you've ever caught funny looks from your neighbors because you're outside in single degree temperatures walking for exercise, go ahead and hit that like and subscribe button, folks, and welcome back to another episode of Benzinga's Pre-Market Playbook. Today is going to be the Tuesday, December 16th edition for 2025. I'm going to cover some more news here. Got news on Tesla, Cathie Wood changes, Ford. We've got some tweets to look at. We've got some stuff to break down, and all of that is going to be ahead of Lennar's earnings here tonight. So we got some stuff to go through. We're getting closer to Christmas. We actually had a market that had higher than the pathetic volume that we've seen recently yesterday. We'll see if we get a repeat of that here today. Benzinga's Pre-Market Playbook, the Tuesday edition for December 16th, 2025, begins right now. Good morning and welcome back, folks. I hope that you all had a wonderful rest of your Monday evening. And if you were playing fantasy and you're in the fantasy playoffs, I hope that game yesterday helped you win your matchup. I know it did for me in 3 of my different teams. So pretty good stuff there. Great to see a whole bunch of returning faces here today. Bright and early. Absolutely love it. Good morning. Big Hurt Brent is first here today. Good morning, Brent. Early bird gets the worm. Let's go. Richard Judge, good morning. Welcome back. Brian, good morning. It's good as always to see you here. Welcome back. Crimp Biscuit, good morning. Sunkissed Yogi, good morning. Big Dave, good morning. Marty, good morning. Marty wants to talk about Ford. We got a new story here for Ford. And I think that might actually, the repercussions of that might bleed into some other trades, but I'd like to get your folks' opinion on all of that. We'll talk about that here pretty soon. Producers locked in, ready to go. I love it. Buffalo by Bicycle, good morning. Stock Nerds Unite. That is like a badge of honor at this point. I'm with you on that for sure. And we will unite here. No question about it. Whisk, good morning. Welcome back. Yes, that girl. Good morning. Welcome back. Reaching Financial Freedom. Good morning. Sit on my hands today. So I don't know for sure yet. Here's one of the things that I'm thinking. I got some tweets to show you. I got some stats to show you. I'm going to make you think about that, reaching financial freedom. But if we bounce here today, it actually might be a decent day for some long side trades. We'll take a look at all of that, though, here in a little bit. Seahorse Trading, good morning. Peter, good morning. Another warm day here. All right. I think you're going to get some cooler temps in Denver eventually. Don't you have some in the forecast? It's actually warming up here. It's not single digits here this morning. We're in the 20s, which is a break from what we have got here recently. Geo, good morning. Welcome back. Azrar, good morning. It's EDP code. Good morning. Welcome back. Day Trader, good morning. Welcome back. Sean, good morning. Welcome back. Rock on, brother. Rishin, good morning. Welcome back. Cam, it's good to see you again, as always. Judge, good morning. Positivity everywhere. I love it. Thinking about it, wants to take a look at Nectar. Believe that's on the movers list here. I think so. We can take a look. Let me actually add that to the sheet here just to make sure I don't forget it. Thinking about it. But that should be on the movers list. Bernhard, good morning. Welcome back. Johnny, it's good to see you as always, brother. Welcome back. Rooster, good to see you again as well. James and Kevin, good morning. Welcome back. Archangel, good morning. Welcome back. Live to trade, trade to live. I'll take that. Welcome back. Durkus, looks like you're having a freak out there on the keyboard. I don't know what all that means, but good morning. Welcome back. All right. Ed, good morning. Welcome back. Jane, it's great to see you as always. Graf, good morning. There we go. Durkus, I can read that. That's English again. Lambo Rolls, good morning. Sean says no email, Ryan. You didn't send one, or you tried to send one and it didn't work? I don't know what you mean by that. In any case, Super Sam, good morning. Creation, good morning. Oscar, good morning. Jeff, good to see you again. Welcome back. Jane, good morning. Welcome back. Just passing through, good morning. Matt, good morning. Marion, good morning. VJ, good morning. And Austin, good morning. I will say we do get, a lot of Twitter viewers on a regular basis. We actually get more Twitter viewers than we do YouTube viewers. Great to see y'all folks interacting with the stream. The way we look at the chat, just as a reminder, I see all of the comments from Twitter, YouTube, and Twitch. So it doesn't matter what you connect on. I will see your comment if you throw it there in the chat. The YouTube section of that seems to be the most active if you want to interact with others in the chat, but it's really up to you. I like to see that proliferating. Purgatory Park, good morning. G-Cord, good morning. Special K, good morning. Matthew, good morning. Sent nothing back. Sean, I didn't get an email from you. I guess I'll search my email for the name Sean. I didn't see it come in. Maybe it's because some of my filters. Just Some Guy says, I think it's just me right now in Twitch. Well, I'm sorry it's lonely over there, Just Some Guy in Tennessee, but just know we see your comments. We'll keep you company there today. Eric, good morning. It's great to see you again. All right, folks, let's get started with our stock market today. All right, futures slightly under pressure ahead of Tuesday's open for December 16th. Notably, they are up off of the lows here. S&P futures down 0.14%, and we're down more not long ago. Dow futures down 0.06%, and the NASDAQ down 0.25%. So it looks like we've already got a bit of a pre-market bounce here today. We'll see if that continues into the regular session. Before we do that, let's take a look at some cues from last session. While energy, healthcare, utilities, and consumer discretionary stocks recorded the biggest gains, information technology sector bucked the positive trend to close lower, leaving U.S. stocks in the red on Monday. And this looks to be a continuation of the rotation out of some of the big cap tech mega winners into some more maybe undervalued parts of the market, as outlined there by energy, healthcare, utilities, and consumer discretionary. On Monday, the NASDAQ composite dropped more than 100 points following a week in which the S&P 500 lost 0.6%, while the Dow rose 1.1%. Traders have now turned their attention to Tuesday's economic calendar, which features the release of official payroll data for October and November alongside October's retail sales. So we are going to get some data here today. We'll see if that has an impact. Meanwhile, the 10-year Treasury bond yielded 4.16%, and the 2-year bond was at 3.49%. We have several stocks in focus today. First one we're going to start with here is Roku. That's ticker ROKU. Shares jumped 4.1% in the pre-market on Tuesday after its CFO and COO, Jetta Dan, sold more than 3,000 shares of Class A common stock on December 15th for $107.44 per share, totaling $322,320. Also, as per investing.com report, Morgan Stanley upgraded the stock from equal weight to overweight on Tuesday, raising its price target to $135 from $185. So I understand that the CFO and this combination CFO COO sold 3,000 shares. We can actually take a look at that in pro if you want, and just see how often those sales are coming. Really, the reason that Roku is responding to the positive here today is because of the Morgan Stanley upgrade from equal weight to overweight, and that's a pretty substantial, price target raise from 85 to 135. The next stock on our list here is going to be Blue Owl Capital. The ticker is OWL. That rose 1.22% after announcing an enhanced strategic partnership with Finance of America companies that includes a $2.5 billion commitment and a $50 million equity injection to support lenders' expansion into new home equity-based financial products for retirees. The next stock on our list is B. Riley. This is ticker RILY, and it surged 25.54% after reporting earnings of $4.50 per share for the second quarter versus a year ago, a loss of $14.35 per share. The company's sales surged to $225.3 million from $94.88 million. It's also high short interest on RILY. The next stock that we're going to look at here today in focus is Navan. That's ticker NAVN. It tumbled 11.17% after posting upbeat results for the third quarter, but issuing weaker than expected full year 26 guidance. The company stated that it anticipates full year 26 sales of $685 million to $687 million, compared to the market estimates of 830.87 million. Remember, it's been the guidance that has really determined the next move for some of these stocks on earnings. And while Navan beat here, the guide, pretty good, pretty decent cut there. And as a result, the stock is tumbling because of that. The last stock on our list here is Lennar, ticker LEN. That was 0.025% lower as analysts expect it to report earnings of $2.21 per share on revenue of $9.02 billion after the closing bell here today. All right, let's take a look at the SPY chart and get our bearings here. Where are we at? All right, couple of things here. We have a new short-term trend line that we're going to be taking a look at here today. First of all, starting at the daily chart, you can see we did bounce clean off the 100. We went above the trend line and several other moving averages, traded sideways a little bit. Now, it does look like we're getting a little bit of a rollover here. And that's one of the things I want to discuss here for today. I can't wait to see what you folks think about the market and where we go from here. We are not far from the 20-day moving average. Now, yesterday, the big deal here was that we did hold 680. I know we had been talking about 684 and 685, and both of those levels got blown through yesterday, but we did hold 680. And in fact, if we look inside at the SPY chart, this is exactly what happened, right? We traded down to 680. We tried to bounce there a little bit. We ended up holding that level and closing above it. Today in the pre-market, however, we dipped beneath it, reclaimed it, and now it looks like we're kind of flirting with this level. So 680 today is definitely going to be in play. Obviously, for more bullish action, if you think the market's going to go up, we want to see that close above 680. Better still if we can get back above this trend line. Now, this new trend line here is one that we have drawn through the peaks that started in Thursday's after-hours session. This is when we printed that new all-time high, albeit in an extended session, not in the regular New York session. It goes through the highs of Friday morning and then yesterday morning, and this now gives us another target here that's at about 682.5, or maybe even 682, depending on when we end up challenging that today, if we do. But if we're able to get back above 680, I would then put 682 or somewhere thereabout as the next area. And then we would still be looking for that 684 and 685 level to get recaptured. We'll see if any of the data that we get here today gives us any of that move to the upside. If not, if the opposite is the case, and we have some pretty clear support areas beneath it. That starts with the 20-day at 677.14. We also have 673 in there as a previous all-time high breakout level, and 674.81 or maybe 675 is going to represent the 50-day moving average. So we have some very clear levels here about where the market should go in either case, if we trade up or trade down here today. Now, let's take a look at some insights from analysts. Based on LPL research commentary, chief equity strategist Jeff Bookbinder forecasts the current bull market is, quote, poised to extend its run in 2026, end quote. He identifies two primary drivers that for this continued optimism, ongoing enthusiasm around AI, which seems fairly vague, to be quite honest, and the further easing of monetary policy from the Federal Reserve. And I know recently that's been called into question, right? How many cuts are we actually going to get? In fact, when is the next cut that we're looking to get? Are we going to get a cut early in the year, or is this going to be pushed out until after the midpoint of the year when Powell is no longer around? So a lot of questions still there. I would agree with both of these, but I am just not sure that we have enough data to really kind of pin that down. However, Bookbinder warns that the potential gains may be more tempered compared to previous years due to high valuations and the historical volatility associated with midterm election years. That's the other thing for the market here. So as we get closer to the midterms, I know there's a lot being made about inflation and affordability and all of that. And the way I see this going, really, no matter who's in office, you're going to do some of the bad stuff or the stuff that I guess appears bad or appears as if it's the little disturbance, as it was called. You're going to do that early in the term, and then the rest of the term is going to be things that are good for the market and good for individuals. We expect that to happen. We'll see if that ends up happening here. Economically, LPL research anticipates a scenario where the economy slows gradually, enabling additional Fed rate cuts without triggering a recession. This backdrop supports their year-end 26 S&P 500 fair value target range of 7,300 to 7,400. Bookbinder notes that, got lost there. Thank you. Bookbinder notes that massive capital expenditures in artificial intelligence are projected to reach approximately $520 billion in 2026 and will be crucial for powering earnings growth. Can these companies beat the bar that's been set? We'll see how that all shakes out there. I know Oracle's struggling with that right now. Despite risks such as potential AI disappointments or rising interest rates, his advice to investors is to maintain current allocations near long-term targets and use market pullbacks as opportunity to selectively increase exposure. So basically what he's saying there is buy the dip seems to still be in play here. And he looks like he's recommending that clients do that. So interesting stuff there. Now, we are going to be doing more little segments in the future, more on that as we get some more details about that. One of them, I think we're going to call it Street Tweets, and we're going to take a look at some of the X posts or tweets or whatever it is that you call them out there, and we're going to have a discussion about that. And I can't think of a better time to look at this next tweet than right now. So we're going to break up some of this news a little quick, and I am going to share a tweet from Ryan Dietrich. Here we go. He tweeted this here. This was yesterday afternoon. Stocks tend to bottom on December 15th and rally into the end of year. So it gives you a little bit of a seasonality chart here with the average December and then the December of 2025. And you can see that for the most part, we're actually following this into the low period. And then it looks like the rest of the month, this is supposed to rally a little bit. Now, let me know what you folks think about this. Do you think we're going to get a rally late year? I know we kind of talk about this as being a Santa Claus rally and all of that. I would ask to stay away from that because that's the last 5 days and the first 2 days of the month. What I'm asking you here is for the remainder of December, do you think we rally here? I think that X did a really good job aggregating some of the replies here because my two favorite are at the top. You better be right, Ryan. We got a lot riding on this. Probably not the only one feeling that way. And then the next one here is this is the opium that I needed here today. That came yesterday amidst the market sell-off. So let me know. Ryan Dietrich, he's done a really good job with a lot of the seasonality, a lot of the stats that he makes. Here's a really great graphic showing you that, hey, according to seasonality, we're actually supposed to rally into the end of the year. Jeremy here from the chat says, I hope we rally. No one wants to see red days before Christmas. Jeremy, you're spot on there. Just some guy said a rally would be nice. I would love it if Santa would bring me an Inventwood IPO. Well, if you ask Santa nicely and you were not naughty this year, perhaps that's on deck. One more thing that I wanted to tie to this graphic and this tweet here. I know we're not going to have Anne-Marie here today because she's traveling and on vacation around the holidays, a well-earned vacation, by the way. So we're not going to have her here today, but I did want to remind you of something that we were talking about recently. She had talked about a seasonality dip in some of her option segments that was being reflected in the chart. Remember, she's got that seasonality line that she's kind of beta testing through her Thinkorswim charts. And all of the charts that she rolled through, she had some trades lined up. You folks also suggested some tickers for a trade. The seasonality line showed this dip, right? And here are the dates. I actually took notes on this because to me, it was interesting. She said, remember that seasonality dip was set for December 12th. Well, guess what? That's exactly what we got on Friday? Yeah, Friday, December 12th. We got a sell-off and we got a little bit more of a continuation, although we really kind of held 680 yesterday. Looks like the big move down was actually on the 12th. She says, here it is. Here is that seasonality dip. So Anne-Marie kind of looking at the same thing as Ryan Dietrich here, saying, yeah, we kind of expected this. Let's see how the rest of the month shakes out here. She does note, though, this was an added piece of information I don't think we covered on the segment, so I'm going to bring it to you here. So the formation suggests that this dip that we're currently experiencing is a buy zone, but it has lag time that extends to December 29th. So unfortunately, the seasonality that Anne-Marie is talking about says that the lag time can extend to the end of the year here. I guess that would kind of throw this off a little bit. But here we go. December bottom on average right now. This looks pretty good. So do you folks, I guess, producer, maybe we can come up with a poll for this here today. We can kind of keep it short term so we can do more than one poll if necessary. Do we think that we rally into the end of December? Or you could even call that the end of the year here. And I would say probably yes or no. I don't think that we need a not sure option here. Let's force the vote. But let's see. Do you think that we're going to trade up until the end of the year here? I know some of you already kind of answered this here, which is great, but maybe that would make for a pretty decent poll. So if anyone wants this tweet, any of the replies, the graphic itself, I'll go ahead and throw that tweet in the chat here today. All right. Now, next story here that we're going to talk about is Ford. Marty was already kind of hitting at this. We're going to talk about it. We're going to start with the chart as we always do. So first of all, here's what the Ford chart looks like. You will notice that this is actually trading back up towards 14, which has been a key level recently, but also in the past. And in fact, if we zoom out a little bit more, you can see Ford's really kind of traded sideways between a range of what? About 17 on the upside and maybe call it 950 on the downside. So this range here has really kind of been going on since 2022. Looks like this is actually constructive. This recent move here, fairly constructive. From the lows of the Liberation Day, which was in an 8 handle, the stock's already back up towards 14. Really not that far away from giving a double in a year's time, which I don't think is often thought about as a possibility for Ford, but nonetheless, this is what's going on. If we take a look inside and kind of get a little bit more of a clear picture, right? When we got the news yesterday, Ford actually traded up on that news. We'll talk about that here in a sec. It does kind of look like this 1385-ish level might be some resistance prior to 14. I still have my eyes set on 14, but if you're looking for more possible levels here, I would say 1385 to the upside might be one of them. Now let's take a look and see what's going on here. Ford scraps the F-150 Lightning EV production. Jim Farley, CEO, says the automaker will pivot, quote, they just weren't selling, end quote. Ford Motor Company has announced that it is discontinuing production of the F-150 Lightning EV pickup truck, marking a shift away from pure electric mobility. The company, in an official statement released on Monday, announced that it has taken a $19.5 billion charge. It also, from the breakdown there, it looks like a majority of that will be here in 2025, with another chunk of it being next year and the final tranche of it being in 2027. So they're going to spread that charge across 3 years, with the biggest hit being in the 2025 year that's about to wrap up here. Pivoting. So they took a $19.5 billion charge, pivoting to hybrids globally, but will focus more on low-cost EVs for the U.S. via its Universal EV platform. Quote, the first vehicle from the Universal EV platform will be the fully connected mid-size pickup truck assembled in the Louisville assembly plant starting in 2027. The company also announced it expects approximately 50% of its global volume will be comprised of hybrids, EREVs and EVs. Now, this is notable because one of the things that we had noticed in the stock price of some of these automakers was that Toyota, when the big push to EV started to happen, when it was being backed by governments and talked about and hyped all the time, the stock that actually did the best was Toyota. And if you looked under the hood, see what I did there? If you looked under the hood at that, you realize that the reason Toyota was successful is because they put their eggs in the hybrid basket, not necessarily the fully electric basket. So it looks like Ford is kind of bending to that as well. They're going to focus a little bit more here on hybrids. Now, they are still going to have EREVs and EVs, but I would imagine the hybrid is going to expand, as that's been the successful area of this market. Putting the earlier reports to rest, the automaker said it's ending the production of its F-150 Lightning, which will instead shift to extended range electric vehicles, that's EREV, with an estimated range of 700 miles. How many times have we talked about the battery really being a selling point here for EVs? Got to have a longer range, this, that, and the other thing. Well, it looks like with the extended range EVs, you're going to get about 700 miles. It's likely going to be a hybrid combination there. Quote, instead of plowing billions into large EVs that Ford knows will never make money, the company is shifting its focus, Farley said in an interview with the Wall Street Journal yesterday. The CEO also shared in a separate interview with CNBC yesterday that the company's more premium electric offerings in the $50,000 to $80,000 range, quote, just weren't selling, end quote. Farley also shared that the $70,000 EVs didn't make sense. And I mean, this seems obvious in hindsight. A lot of stuff does. Let me just kind of ask the group here. How many of you would be looking to go buy a $50,000 to $80,000 Ford EV? I mean, you could basically have your pick of some of the German luxury cars like Audi, BMW, or Mercedes in that price range. Hell, if you were America only, you could get a Cadillac in that price range as well. So this, to me, makes complete sense here. I understand that I think car companies should have an electric option. I think there's definitely instances where that makes sense. In fact, a gentleman in our happy hour show has solar panels at his home and at his work. And as a result, he drives his Tesla at no cost because the solar panels are so good at getting energy, and he uses that for his car in both of the locations that he goes to primarily. So there's definitely a market for this. I just think that it was kind of forced a little bit too much, and that hurt. The news comes amid a pullback on EV efforts by Ford, which recently announced an end to its EV manufacturing venture with South Korean battery maker XIII. The end sees Ford wholly owning the Kentucky plant, while XIII will assume ownership of the battery plant in Tennessee. Meanwhile, Farley recently hailed President Trump's relaxation of the corporate average fuel economy, or CAFE standards, as a move that would help Ford focus on American-made products. Farley had earlier predicted that an EV adoption in the U.S. would be at 5%. And indeed, that looked to be a pretty good prediction. The company is also expanding its presence in the European market, announcing a partnership with French automaker Renault, where the company will lead design and driving dynamics for two Ford-badged EVs built on the Renault Ampere platform. Ford scores well on the momentum. This kind of surprised me. Ford scores well on momentum, value, and quality. Now, it doesn't score very well on growth, but it's still satisfactory. So Ford, according to the Benzinga rankings here, the intact short, medium, and long-term trend actually has a pretty good score. Okay, how are we doing on time? Oh, we are cruising. Cathie Wood dumps $59 million in Tesla stock as Elon Musk's robotaxi dreams take center stage. On Monday, Cathie Wood led ARK Invest executed significant trades predominantly involving Tesla, Circle, Coinbase, and BMNR. Four stocks that we often take a look at here and probably also often trade. These trades reflect ARK's strategic positioning in both the electric vehicle and the cryptocurrency sectors. ARK Invest sold a substantial number of Tesla shares across its ARK Innovation ETF, that's ARKK, and the ARK Next Generation ETF, that's ARKW. A total of 124,867 shares were sold when the stock with the stock closing at a price of $475.31. Now, this is fairly notable here, if you ask me. We've talked a lot about Tesla recently. It's actually made a pretty decent run. I mean, if we look back just to like April of this year, right, just kind of Liberation Day, stock was $200. It is more than a double here in less than a full calendar year. Now, I will say, at least right now, it certainly does look like Tesla's going to try and break higher here and maybe challenge this trend line, which is right above 500. That's just what the chart says. Cathie has obviously got a different view on that, but nonetheless, selling some shares here recently after a pretty sizable run earlier this year. This move, though, comes amid Tesla's ongoing developments in autonomous driving, as CEO Elon Musk confirmed testing of driverless robotaxis in Austin. Despite the company's record EV deliveries, analysts are questioning the relevance of these numbers for Tesla stock, suggesting a shift in investor focus. And this is something else that we discussed in Happy Hour. Does it really matter if Tesla is missing delivery numbers? I mean, everything that we're hearing about Optimus and how it's going to stop crime by walking around and preventing it before it happens, or the automation on assembly lines, or security, or whatever the case is, sure seems like investors kind of treating this as a tech company rather than a car company. And perhaps maybe the car sales or the push for EVs just won't matter as much in the future. A Barclays analyst said Tesla's future valuation appeared less tied to electric vehicle delivery numbers, arguing fourth quarter deliveries likely would not matter for the stock and could come in soft. The analyst maintained an equal weight rating and raised the price target to $350, noting Tesla increasingly traded like a technology company rather than a traditional automaker. And I'll just take a quick sec here. Were a number of people in the Benzinga ecosystem, as well as in our show here, that have been saying for years that Tesla is not a car company, rather a technology company. This is time for you to take that victory lap. It definitely appears that you're right. The market's kind of telling you the same thing. The view aligned with Musk's long-held stance that Tesla's long-term value would be driven by technology, particularly full self-driving and the Optimus humanoid robot. Musk previously said as much as 80% of Tesla's future value would come from Optimus, with full self-driving also cited as a major growth driver. Some investors also forecasted weaker vehicle momentum, with estimates calling for 2025 deliveries to fall about 7% and 2026 deliveries to range from flat to up to 5%, well below the broader market expectations. Now, that's just for Tesla. The other one here is Circle. This was another one that a number of you folks traded here. Pretty big winner initially, although it's really kind of been a dog more recently. ARK purchased 143,579 shares of Circle through ARK's Blockchain and FinTech Innovation ETF. That's ARKF, ARKK, and ARKW ETFs. With Circle's closing price at $75.46, the total investment amounted to approximately $10.8 million. Despite Circle's impressive third quarter performance, the stock has faced challenges as traders remain cautious about its long-term growth potential. Notably, Wood purchased several cryptocurrency-related stocks on Monday. Bitcoin extended its sell-off, falling below 86,000, which also dragged Ethereum under the $3,000 level. Ripple and Dogecoin declined more than 4%. More than $600 million was liquidated from the crypto market over 24 hours, largely from bullish bets, as open interest continued to fall sharply from the October highs. Another stock that they traded here is Coinbase, ticker COIN. ARK acquired 65,000 shares, just about 64,946 of Coinbase Global. That came across ARKF, ARKK, and ARKW with a closing price of $250. Coinbase's stock has been under pressure, reflecting broader cryptocurrency market trends. Recently, Coinbase launched a Mainnet bridge connecting its day trader, you'll have to help me out, whatever the hell that is, connecting its base layer 2 network with Solana, enabling direct transfers of Sol and Solana native tokens into base applications using Chainlink, CCIP. The ticker there is Link. The integration marked the first major link between an EVM compatible network and Solana's non-EVM architecture, using a dual verification security model backed by Coinbase and Chainlink nodes. Day trader, we would have to talk about that a little bit more. I want to understand that a little bit more. All right, I think we are actually getting some data. Just take a quick break here real quick and go to my Benzinga Pro. We'll take a look and see what we got here. All right, employment rate for November, 4.6 versus the 4.5 estimate. Core retail sales month over month for October were 0.4 versus 0.2 expected. Retail sales month over month for October were flat versus the 0.1 estimate. Core retail sales month over month for October, the prior was revised from 0.3 to 0.1. Average hourly earnings month over month, 0.1 versus the 0.3 estimate. And U.S. retail sales month over month for October revises the prior from 0.2 to 0.1. S&P futures responding positively so far to this. We actually went red-green here in the pre-market. S&P futures up 0.03% as they trade up here. So looks like, at least on the surface so far, that news being reacted to positively. Really quickly, let me finish off this piece of news on Cathie Wood transactions. Then we'll go to our guest here. ARK purchased 122,360 shares of Bullish. Again, this came in the ARK F, K, and W ETFs. Last month, Bullish reported third quarter revenue of $76.5 million, which beat estimates, while adjusted earnings of 10 cents per share matched expectations. Digital asset sales and adjusted transaction revenue declined year over year, but the Peter Thiel-backed company highlighted strong momentum from new crypto option products and expanded liquidity partnerships. Management said growth carried into the fourth quarter and guided subscription services and other revenue of $47 million to $53 million, with adjusted operating expenses of $48 to $50 million. She also bought Block. All right, 92,845 shares of Block. That again came in ARK K and ARK W. JP Morgan recently reiterated an overweight rating on the Jack Dorsey-led Block with a $100 price target, calling the third quarter solid overall, despite margin noise and a one-time loss of $70 million, which weighed on profitability. So let me know if you're following Cathie into any of these trades. Day Trader Base is a Coinbase token. They bridged it to Solana, allowing easier integration between the two chains. So that seems good, right? That seems like a net positive there for all of that. So really good stuff. And thank you, folks, for popping those numbers in there. Producer was working on something else at the time. It was a standalone ecosystem before and gaining little traction. Coinbase is trying to keep Base relevant. Okay, so Coinbase is essentially trying to prop that up. All right, Day Trader, appreciate your insight there on that. All right, let's go ahead. Now, let's not waste any more time. Let's get to our guest. Let's go ahead and bring him on. Let me get the right graphic here. Sorry. All right. Let's go ahead and bring on our guest today. Dan O'Brien from T3. Dan, how you doing here this morning? Nice to meet you.
I'm good. Can you hear me?
I can. Not all that great. Sounds like the microphone's on the other end of the room, but so it is indeed working.
Well, let's see if I can make a change here. Yes. Here we go. How's it?
My goodness. Whatever you did, that is the money option, because it's entirely different now.
Right. Great. Well, computers, they can make changes on you when you think you've got it set, and then you just got to change the setting. Anyways, that was quick.
Okay.
Nice
Dan,
to be
thanks
on your
for
show. It's my first time.
I know, and I appreciate you coming on here. I will say that you've got some pretty big shoes to fill, because the T3 guys have been absolutely fantastic from start to finish. And as a bonus, every time we bring on someone new from T3, I always start with the same first question. I want you to tell me about your morning routine. Now, let me give you a little bit of background. When I brought Scott Redler on, I asked him about his morning routine. I said, I want to know what all these pro traders do to get prepared for the market. And he started listing things like cold plunge and sauna and up at 4 o'clock in the morning. I was like, that is a lot more than I expected. So I've asked everybody the same thing. So Dan, please tell me about your morning routine and how you prepare for the market on a regular basis.
Sure. So when the market closes, I immediately do what I call doing my homework. And I will go through an exact process every day, and I make a video and then send them out to my clients. But what I'm doing is basically using a market profile, look at the market, and then I'll trade using algorithms, but I'm mixing the two of those together when it's actually come time to trade. So I will look at things like the value area, for example. And the value area is where did the volume trade throughout the day and around the mean or the VWAP of that day's particular, the average volume of the day. And then, what I'm saying is it's think of a Gaussian distribution. but we trade, the market trades, of course, on a vertical scale.
Mhm.
So I'm looking at the distribution of the up and down range as far as the volume goes. Now, this is just the starting point. So that gives you the value area range. And the idea is this: if the market opens up inside, let's say it's the S&P 500, and the next day it opens up inside the value area range, well, it's still in balance with what happened the day before. So that immediately tells you, I don't really want to be that aggressive.
Mhm.
If it trades down to the bottom of that value area range, the probability of support there is very high. If it trades up to the upper end of the value area range, well, that probability is good for resistance. And as you can imagine, if the market, in fact, because of news that happens overnight, it opens above that value area range, well, it's out of balance to the buy side. And conversely, if it opens below it, it's out of balance to the sell side. And as the market trades up to that distribution, that lower end should be resistance. And so that's really just a starting point. From there, I will look at what did the 30-minute auction look like throughout the entire day. Was it very bullish? Was it neutral? Was it very bearish? I will look at volume. Volume is incredibly important, and volume in two different ways. One of them was the volume today. Now, remember, this is at the close. So was the volume today greater than yesterday? And what was the value area range relative to yesterday? So consider this for a second. Let's say at the close today, the value area range is completely higher than the prior day's value area range. So what does that tell us? It tells us the market traded, whether it gapped up or not, it doesn't matter. But the auction process, based on the distribution of the volume, was completely higher than the distribution the prior day. And was it also wider? That will tell us that there was greater participation. And then if the volume was higher than yesterday and even higher than a recent average, then things are really looking good for that next morning's trade. So I'll look at that sort of thing. And that's based on what actually happened in the market. That is the actual data of the market on a statistical basis with the, looking at the Gaussian distributions and what have you. And it really helps with a general sense of, should I be leaning to the buy side or should I be leaning to the sell side? Or like I said, when I first started, maybe it's right in the middle of the prior day's range and you need to be very careful. So then that leads me into, how am I going to be very aggressive with my algorithms or not?
Okay. All right. Really good breakdown there. Sounds like it's very technical, very math based, which should be, I guess, helps you keep it systemized as opposed to trading on emotion. Dan O'Brien uses his proprietary algorithms to make fast-paced futures trades, and he's sharing how it all works in his free webinar this Thursday, December 18th at 8 p.m. Eastern. We have a QR code on the screen that folks can scan there, Dan, or you can just click the link in the chat. Easy for me to say. All right. Can you tell us a little bit more about your future strategy?
Right. Well, so I just went through what is the setup and that, like I say, my homework. So that's one way to look at it. The actual setups when I'm actually taking a trade are based on three different algorithms that I designed with a group of mathematicians and computer science specialists. And so it all starts with what's called a regime switching algorithm. And everyone can Google that if they like. There is an entire class of regime switching algos. And it sounds fancy, and it is actually, but it tells us, the output value will tell us, well, what regime or what state is the market in right now? Is it in a trending state or is it in a non-trending state? And that particular algo is looking at fractal geometry is what it is. And it's looking for rescaled ranges of what's been happening. Okay, I don't know if you could hear that, but that submarine dive is telling me that I've got an alert that there's some serious weakness in the NASDAQ. And I had one actually before I came on at 25,339. So that was a while ago, and we just got another one.
Well,
Anyway,
just looking at the Qs chart here, I don't have the futures ticker there for the NASDAQ, but just looking at the Qs here in the pre-market, basically we gave back everything we had on that data pop there. Looks like this is actually going to try and roll lower. So perhaps that's what your alert was for.
Well, there was enough momentum there that it signaled an alert. It was right at, as far as the intraday that I look at, was right at a double bottom. So it would have to be very cautious right there. The prior one up there at 25,000, let's call it 340, there was no support, and the market did drop down to looks like 279 or so. At any rate, that alert, and I'll go over this, of course, in the website, is actually looking at all of the algorithms together and telling me, hey, there's a real good probability that the market is going to go down or it's going to go up based on all the math that I'm talking about here today. So it just gives me a heads up. Like if I'm grabbing a cup of coffee, hey, get back to the computer. If I'm on a phone call, like, wait a second, I got to, or hey, Ryan, hold up a second, I've got to take a trade here. So that first program that I use, once again, is just telling us, is the probability of a trend or chop very high? And then there's two different ways to trade it. Of course, you can be a fader of the ranges when the state or the regime is in the non-trending or non-self-similarity area. And of course, if it is in the trending regime, trending state, then be looking for breakouts or a trend down from that 25,340 area in the NASDAQ futures. Another one that we look at is really the first one that I designed, but it's looking at high frequency traders and what is the probability of two different styles of HFT traders being on the buy side or the sell side.
I have to ask, Dan, were you in the Navy? Is that why you have a submarine diving sound?
No, good question. I was not, but it just, I don't know. I just find it rather funny. And I know exactly what it means, that submarine is diving. So yeah, that's all it is. Many things to choose from, but that was the one.
Okay. Now I'm glad we were able to discuss your system a little bit. Dan, those were the easy questions. Now we're on to the hard ones. So I hope you're ready here. Let me ask you, just flatly put here, where are you at post Fed cut? So what do you see for the market here now that we actually got this cut here in December? Where do we go from here? Do you think, what are the charts telling you? What is your system telling you?
Well, the system is used for, day-to-day trading, but I do look at, of course, I'm going to be following what the Federal Reserve is doing. I'm going to follow what the big AI stocks are doing, like Oracle, NVIDIA, and the others, because they are the weighting is so concentrated in so few stocks that when there's big news like Oracle and Oracle going down, that's going to bring the NASDAQ down. And so I do look at all of those other things as well. And so post the Fed rate cut, I believe the S&P 500 cash made a new all-time high, but the futures didn't yet. And they're so close, I'm shocked that they haven't quite made it. And I don't think they did it overnight. But I thought that the market was going to be giving us this Santa Claus rally where we just slowly go up day after day after day, because I've seen it for over 20 years now. And it's not happening, which is very interesting. And then with all of today's news that you went over before I came on, and then there's more news coming. I don't know if there's one or two bad things this week that traders just might say, well, we're taking it down. But I look at it first to answer specifically. I still think we're going up, but I look at it from day to day. And if the market is weak, because of any of the things that I mentioned, the homework or one of the really big heavily weighted stocks, I'm more than willing to go short. So I think of everything in probabilities. And so if there's some news, even if it's small, that comes out and shakes the confidence in the market and all the algorithms are saying it's bearish, mathematical programs don't have any biases. They don't have any emotions. They just tell you how they've been programmed. And so I have to try and be the same way, even though it is rather difficult. I have to be the same way and just change my opinion like that, because if the math says it's going down, I'm definitely going to go short.
Okay, so it seems safe to say that Dan is data dependent, very much like the Fed in that case.
Yes.
Okay, good. Let me ask you then, just getting right to it. Do you have anything on deck here today? I know we briefly talked about Oracle. Are there any other individual names that you'd like to discuss where you see a setup or a potential trade here for today?
Well, I would be looking at shorts. There's nothing individual. Let me say this: the algorithms are not going to give me a quote setup where I'm looking at where it will say, okay, you need to sell the NASDAQ futures at 25,288. It is iterating all of the algorithms. And there's another one. It's a signal processing algorithm that gives me short-term predictions, but it's based on what's happening right now. And they are constantly upgrading and reiterating with every trade that happens. So things can happen very quickly. I could have 2 or 3 shorts and then a very profitable long, all within maybe 10 minutes. So it's not about setups. I understand your question, but it doesn't quite work like that. Okay. I hope that answer is okay for you, but it's not quite the way of the MACD says this or the RSI says that, and we're going to go short in 5 minutes. Been there, done that. Doesn't work for me. I know there's a million different ways to trade, but I'm looking at these. Again, going back, I could have a leaning based on the homework that I do, but then when the algorithms line up and agree with that, I might trade heavier in that direction. But I'm not going to ignore a trade in the other direction as well. So I take them as they come along, Ryan.
Okay, that makes sense here. One of the viewers here wants to know, do you have a submarine sonar ping alert for when you find something for the long side instead of the dive?
Well, okay, so if you've got the dive, so my program is going to default to no trades, and then everything is already it's already in the different states of the trading program. And so right now I can just click short entry. And if I click short entry, if the algorithms are lined up, then it will take the trade for me. It'll populate all of the targets, the trailing stops. Yes, I have 2 of them, and I can go into it if you like. It's a little complicated. But when I get the alert, it's about 75% ready for a trade. And sometimes 75% is not 100%. So if it's not quite there, there'll be no entry. But all I have to do is click the short entry button, and then everything's been programmed in there that if all of them do line up and everything is 100% valid, then it will do the rest of the work for me or for any client, as well as, again, the targets and the stops.
Okay. Do you have any names on there that you want to share that are close?
Well, it's just the NASDAQ. So I understand what you're saying. So I'm not using the software to trade something like an Oracle or an NVIDIA. Just to be clear, it's a futures only. So I look at it in reverse. I will look at some of those big stocks to be wary of them driving the futures lower or higher. And then I trade the futures only. So it's not a name that I'll be looking for, but in fact, it's the dive of the NASDAQ. So the NASDAQ could be a short at 25,260 if it goes up about another 10 points.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, sure does. All right. Another question here from one of the viewers here. Can we ask about the 2 trailing stops? Sure.
So one thing that everyone's very familiar with is the average true range. So I have the average true range as a trailing stop, and that will follow the trailing stop for as long as it goes. So if anyone asks, what is your maximum target? Like, do you have an RR, number risk to reward, that you use? And I don't, because you don't know what your reward is going to be. Yesterday, I had two gigantic trades short early in the ES and the NASDAQ, worth almost $9,000, and I was done for the day. A 3 lot in the NASDAQ and a 5 lot in the ES futures. They were both futures, of course. And I just let it run, the last target, let it go until it hit the trailing stop. So that's one. That's the one that's going to trail. The other one is far behind it, and that's used as protection in a different way. So if the market goes down, and again, I'm only saying down because it had some of these sell alerts. If the market goes down through my second target, then the trailing stop will snap down to a little bit better than break even. So if it turns and goes right back up again, I'm out with a winner. Same thing if I'm long. However, if it's like yesterday early when the market took a nosedive right after the gap up and straight down, and the ATR overtakes that break-even stop, then I'm better than break-even. I delete or cancel the one that's at break-even and just let the ATR run. So there's two of them for that reason, and that actually can happen, quite a bit. If you're long, the market rips up through a couple of stops. It goes up to maybe a double top. The ATR hasn't moved very much yet, and wham, right back down. And then my little bit better than break-even stop is taken out. And that, by the way, of course, will then cancel all the other open orders. And all that's done. It's all pre-programmed.
Right.
So you don't have to start clicking, cancel all the other orders and everything.
Yeah, I like that. Last question here real quick. What's the ATR time frame set at, if you don't mind us asking?
Well, it's 2 ATRs. And as far as time frame, like that's another thing. I don't use regular like 1 minute, 5 minute, 10 minute, 15-minute bars. I use tick bars and constant volume bars.
Okay.
So it's based more on the action of what's happening. So if the market's moving very quickly, I'll get way more bars, and if it's not, I'll get less bars. So I want to know what's the activity of the market.
Okay. All right. Dan O'Brien uses his proprietary algorithms to make fast-paced futures trades, and he's sharing it now and how it all works on his webinar Thursday, December 18th at 8 p.m. QR code is on the screen. Dan, thank you very much for joining us here today. Thanks for getting up early and going over your setups. We look forward to talking with you next time. All right.
Great. Thanks, Ryan. Appreciate it.
All right, that is Dan O'Brien from T3. We continue to bring you more and more of the T3 traders here, how they approach the market and what they're going through. Really good stuff there from Dan. All right, folks, let me know. What do you think? Are you looking to open up shorts here today, longs? Where are we kind of going here with some of the movement or with the next move here? You'll have to let me know. Really good stuff there. We'll get 13 on here as soon as he's ready, and we'll go over some of the movers. Thank you very much, Dan, and thank you, folks, for the interaction and some of the questions there with the guests. Always love that. Always love hearing from other traders about how they approach different things and how they're going after certain things. So, all right. Really good stuff there. Let's go ahead and get 13 on here. In the meantime, really quickly, I just wanted to share some of these graphics here. We have some of the best graphic designers here earlier. I actually forgot to share this earlier when we were talking about Ford scrapping the Lightning production with the EVs not selling. And then I also forgot to hit this one. So producer, it looks like I'm going to need a little bit more help there, remembering some of the graphics to go along with some of the news and the discussions that we do on a regular basis there. So, okay. Really, really good stuff there, folks. Let's go ahead and take a look at some of the other stocks that are moving here today. There's 13. Let's go ahead and bring him on. 13, how you doing? Happy Tuesday.
Hey, how are you doing? I was just having some trouble trying to get in the Restream. It was taking forever to get through their website, but I'm here now.
Okay, welcome. Ready to hit some movers?
Yeah, let's do it. It's kind of funny, this list of movers we have here today. They've pretty much all moving, or most of them are moving on one stock. Guess which one that is? It sounds like you give up.
I was going to say, I'm not playing the games. Give it to us. What's going on, 13?
So B. Riley reported their financial results, and several of their their B series and different series shares are also running with this. But what was interesting is that a lot of these other names that we have here on the movers list are affiliated with B. Riley in a way, like they were underwritten or they're covered by them. So, for example, one of them I was just looking at, BDRX, and I think even CPAC. But I know with BDRX, they were underwritten and an advisor for them in the past. And that's one of the reasons why they. I think this was with B. Riley. BDRX used to be a SPAC called Roman DBDR Acquisition Corp, and B. Riley was the one that helped bring it to market. There's one.
So a lot of these movers here then related to Riley, which we've talked about this stock a number of times in the past. There's some shady stuff going on there. I guess I should say shady moves. I don't know what's going on behind company doors, but we've seen the stock make some pretty outsized moves there. So interesting. I actually did notice that. So a lot of these movers here related to B. Riley this morning.
Yeah, and it was because I see some of these moving on what looks to be no news. And they keep having the same headline pop up in their news feed about B. Riley having their financial results or something that has to do with B. Riley. So I was like, okay, well, that's interesting. And so I just started looking through all these, and they have some kind of connection to the company. They also have some of them have some pretty high short interest. Riley itself has almost 25% of the float share with 8 days to cover. So probably seeing a little bit of a squeeze here as well on that one. Same with BDRX. They don't have the days to cover metric that we're looking for, but they are 20% shorted and they're very low float, 619,000 shares. So we can start wherever you want and dive into these a little bit deeper, but pretty much B. Riley's earnings reports is lifting a handful of these stocks.
Okay, well, I'm just going to start right there, 13. First one here is going to be Riley. That is B. Riley Financial. Ticker is RILY. And as 13 mentioned there, they're trading higher on the back of its financial results. You see the stock went up to about 550 yesterday. We're holding right here at about 475, but looks like we're actually trying to go a little bit higher here. This is what the daily chart looks like. And as we were just saying there, the trading action in this name has been not great, less than impressive, if you will. So rough looking chart here. Now, a couple of things. Short interest on this name, 24.78% of the float shorted with 8.11 days to cover. So high short interest in both metrics there. 13, any thoughts on this one specifically?
Could continue to squeeze. I don't know if we'll get that or not, but there is an interesting trend line that I've drawn here from the price action regarding the highs. That was in the after hours that took us up to 559, and then as well as the pre-market here that took us up to 540. So if we can kind of continue sideways here and not lose the 200 EMA, I think that there's a good opportunity for this to maybe recapture that VWAP and try and test that trend line again. Hopefully, the next time we test that, it ends up taking it out, breaking through it. But for support, I have that 200 EMA. There's some support just slightly above it, around 455, and that's pretty much going to be it until about, I would say, maybe 425, where that's the bottom of the consolidation following the earnings print after the impulse move. So, and then before that, you're just pretty much back to where the price started taking off after earnings. So those are the three levels I have to the downside as support. To the upside, you've got to recapture VWAP, and then I'd probably also lean on 515 as a resistance area prior to the trend line.
Okay. Good breakdown there. All right, next one here is going to be AMCI. Now, this isn't connected to B. Riley. This was just from yesterday, right?
Yeah, this is the SPAC that just recently merged with AMC Robotics, and they got hammered last week. Now they're on a bit of a rally this week. They didn't get up to I don't think they quite got up to the $10 level. Let me double check here before I say something wrong. I don't think they quite got up to the $10 level in the regular session. No, just shy. I think it was by 85 cents or so. But then at the end of the day, as soon as the closing bell hit, this thing ripped up to $15 and then came right back in. So let me just look at the chart here.
And real quick, while you're looking at that, I just wanted to mention, Sean, thanks very much for the donation here.
Thank you, Sean.
As the producer was saying here, none of this is required. We definitely appreciate it. I actually don't even know where these go. I'll try and figure that out. But we appreciate anything that you do to support the effort that we make here. So much appreciated to you. I'm glad things are working out for you as well. All right, 13. Sorry about that.
Hey, no problem. Anytime we can say thank you, let's do it.
That's right. Absolutely.
Now, when it comes to the chart for AMCI, we have come off that $15 level that we impulse moved up to yesterday. Started breaking down from that area too. We are trading beneath the view up right now. We do have that trend line in the way. I'm sure you see it. If you use the move up to 15 and then the high from the pre-market here. That's going to give us a near-term target. We do have to recapture VWAP. And if we do end up going lower, we have the 65 EMA right in the middle of a consolidation area from, basically since we lost that move in the after hours. So we could kind of put a median of about, I would say, 1025. That's just a little bit above the 65 EMA, which is 1020. And then beneath that, I think I'd be probably looking at maybe $9 just before the 200 EMA. I mean, we were getting support from that area earlier. I don't know how well it's going to hold up. We are trading above the 65 EMA, and I think as long as that holds up, then we should get a move over that trend line.
Okay. Good stuff there. AMCI. I do love the trend line. Love it as a target. We'll see if we end up getting that here. Okay, next one is going to be CPAC. This is CPAC. Cementos Pascamayo. Cementos Pascamayo. Pacasmayo. I'm not doing a good job here pronouncing this, but Cementos Pacasmayo. Shares are trading higher after Wholesome signed an agreement to purchase 50. Whoa, what was that sound?
I was just moving my.
Oh my goodness. 50.01% of the company's owner in versions ASPI SA of the Hochschild Group. Okay, so I don't know what any of this means. Did you prepare for this one?
So I looked at this one and I saw that we've traded less than 1 million shares. So I don't know how well this is going to move. It's certainly creating a nice pattern here in the pre-market. It looks like it's trying to get up to $10. It's having trouble with getting beyond $9 or seeing any closes beyond 950. So thinking that we're heading up to a resistance area here, but if volume happens to step in, then we might get that $10 print. But this is moving up on low volume. So I think I'd be especially careful with this one because it could just come right back in once people start realizing that this is up here so much.
Okay, taking a break here. Sean, again, would have got this Joker Bears ticket, still might, but respect free teaching regularly and efficiently. We appreciate you, Sean. Again, very, very nice. I love that you are flexing your Elon Musk muscle over here just to kind of roll with the theme here of the chat. Much appreciated. Again, not required, but appreciated. We will continue to try and do this. And 13, I guess this is a pretty good time to mention this. I'm sure things are going to change around here in the new year. We don't have a ton of details on all of that. We will give it to you as we can, but we will continue to try and make content that is valuable for you. Whatever it is, whether it's breaking down movers, giving technical analysis, giving our opinion on what's going on, uncovering news, trade setups, all of that. We definitely will continue to try and do that. The response from you folks has been absolutely amazing. And we definitely want to continue that going forward. So definitely look forward to some of those changes there, Sean. I'm glad that we are making an impact on you enough for you to say things and be generous like that. We really look forward to doing that in the future.
Absolutely. And I love coming here and trading with y'all and helping people understand these markets. But I always love seeing hilarious comments like show some schmoes. Cemento sounds like a breath mint for construction workers. I mean, this is the real reason for living, folks. This is the real reason for living.
Exactly. That's the type of stuff you just can't get anywhere else. So we really, really appreciate it. Thank you very much. And yeah, as I was just kind of mentioning there, when we have more concrete details on what's going to change for 2026, we will let you know for sure. But again, just wanted to shout you guys out, guys and gals, excuse me. It's awesome. And 13, I generally don't like speaking for you, but I think I can in this regard. Showing up here, trading with the group here at Benzinga, it's been a breath of fresh air. I think it's been beneficial for both of us. I know we both absolutely love it, and we look forward to being helpful in any way that we can. So, all right. I'm still laughing. I'm still chuckling about the breath mint joke for this one. But in any case, that's what's going on here with this one. You know what, 13? I'm going to plop this other trend line on here. We'll see if this gets broken as well. Okay. Did you have anything else on that? Did I move? I know I kind of broke it up a little bit, but should I just move on?
You can move on. There's the only other one I looked at was BDRX.
Okay. And really quickly here, RILYL. This is kind of, again, related to the Riley stuff. 13, you did a really good job running all that down earlier, and how there's different classes of shares that are tied to it that are moving. This is one that's at the top of the list. I don't really think we need to go into the specifics of that. But I do want to go to RZLV, Resolve AI. In fact, I think there was someone talking about this one recently. I can't place it, but I feel like I know we've seen this ticker on the scanner before. I know we've seen PRs that have moved this thing in the morning before, but I'm pretty sure that there was someone mentioning this recently. Resolve AI shares are trading higher after the company reported preliminary December revenue results. Looks like we're getting that here in the morning, and what a move here. 230 up to 310 so far. Let me see if there was anything else of note in this news here. Full year 26 annual recurring revenue view of 500 million or more. ARR expected to exceed 200 million. And December revenue is expected to exceed 17 million. So getting some pretty good revenue predictions here. That's driving the stock higher. We're currently up by 33+%. Looking at the short interest tab here, 5.86% of the float is shorted on this one with only 1 day to cover. So there's some short interest here. It's certainly not really high. On average, stock trades 19 million shares per day. Today, we've done about 10 prior to the open. Float much thicker on this one, 236 million. You have anything on this one, Resolve?
You know who owns this? B. Riley.
I guess I could have guessed that on a morning like today, huh, 13?
Sometimes you just can't make this stuff up. This is not the reason it's moving, but they are a recorded institutional investor in this company. So it's kind of interesting that this is moving at the same time, but you've obviously got some different news here. So no, I didn't cover this, but I just quickly looked up to see if there was any involvement with B. Riley, and certainly enough, they're a shareholder. Now let's look at the chart here, see if I can give you any technical levels with Resolve AI, see if it resolves higher, if you get what I'm saying. Wow.
I do. I like it.
Today. So we're just kind of like taking off here. Let me look at a daily chart, see if there's anything there that I see.
Really quickly, while you're looking at that, Izzy here is asking, Riley, we trade the trade we are watching today. Yo, Izzy, straight up, I'm going to keep an eye on Riley, but honestly, this is not going to be one of my primary targets. You must have just joined. I don't love this company. There was a great comment here from Frank earlier that I kind of just ran over and didn't highlight, but I will highlight that now if I can find it. Give me 1 sec here, 13. I know, I'm sorry I'm delaying you. I've done it a few times here today. B. Riley has been accused of selling its own book. Frank says he questions their work. The reason I'm highlighting this is because we've actually had a more in-depth conversation about this very thing in the past. Now, can the trade still work here? Yeah, of course it can. So we'll be keeping an eye on all of these tickers here. But no, to answer your question directly, this is not my primary target. Okay, 13, sorry for digressing.
No problem. Yeah. So Resolve AI, this is getting locked down right now, but if it manages to come back up later on today, looking at a daily chart, you have the 65-day EMA at 366. So that kind of gives us a potential target to shoot for. If you look at what happened on November 20th, they had some news that sent it up in that area. It didn't quite get to any EMAs, but that same area where that 65 EMA is kind of interesting for some price action based on the history of the stock here of the past month. So I think if we do get some upside here after the bell opens, that's one level I'd be keeping an eye on, because the only other one that I think is of any real big importance here as far as providing resistance is going to be 325.
Okay.
And then that I'd say that's that 65 EMA, maybe 350, but I think that 65 day EMA is going to play a big part in resistance if we get up there.
Okay, then the last one here that I think you wanted to cover was BDRX, right? Let me go ahead and break it down, and I'll step away prior to the open here. BDRX, this actually, we talked about this yesterday morning. Very, very disappointing. Now it looks like we're kind of getting a repeat of that, and it looks like $8 was the top, whereas $8.50-ish was the top in the pre-market yesterday. Quick look here at the short interest on this name. Boy, 20% of the float shorted as of the recent read. That's a substantial step up from the read prior. 1.91 days to cover here. Average volume of about 768,000 shares. Today we've seen 6.2 million trade. Float here, really, really low float. This is what's moved it before. Again, this float here, just about 620,000. All right, 13, I'm going to go to the chart here real quick. I'm going to preemptively draw the trend line that I think that you're going to talk about. We'll see what happens when I come back, but I will be right back.
Sounds good. All right, let me go to a 5-minute chart here. I didn't draw any trend line, but you know what? Now that he said that, I think I'll go ahead and make my own here, see how well ours line up. But anyway, so we're at 613 right now. This looks like it's trying to push higher, or at least get ready to go higher, creating a bit of a bull flag here in the pre-market after coming off the 200 EMA. This company does need cash, so I think I'd be extra careful with this one today. There's always a chance that this might need to raise capital today. They burn through about $6 million a year, and they have a lot less than that right now on their balance sheet. So I think I'd be careful about a potential capital raise coming with this one. So that means share dilution, and most likely stock is or the float is 619,000 shares. So they've already done the reverse split. Next step is to raise capital. 20% of the float shorted, like Ryan said, that could potentially squeeze it higher, but make sure you're paying yourself on the way up here, folks. And then one last thing about, as far as upside levels go, 650 is one level that I have here that's kind of stuck around for a while. We have traded this BDRX before. So I would say that if we can hold here and get above this 65 EMA that we're currently struggling with, 650 is going to be the next level, then VWAP, and then the trend line that I have.
Is my trend line close to the one that you have?
Yes, it is.
Okay, perfect. I thought so. As soon as I loaded up the chart, I was like, I think I know where 13 is going to go with this one. And indeed, we did that. Okay.
I like the point about being careful with B. Riley. I mean, you have this many different series of debt. Like they trade them publicly. Like what is the Riley L, Riley P, and all these different debt financing methods. I mean, just be careful, because if this company ever goes out of business, you're probably waiting in a long line to get your money back.
Yeah.
So just be careful with this one.
Yep. Not to say that trades can't be made, but really good stuff there. Okay. Did you want to go over anything else, Vero, AZI, or any of the other ones on the list?
We can look at whatever you want, but I'm not really sure we're going to get a lot of great movers this morning. So I'm kind of curious what the morning is going to provide for us.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. It is worth noting that half of these are some type of ETF or levered ETF that's on crypto, like Solana, or I believe this one's for Circle. Yeah, indeed. So we talked a little bit about that. So, okay. We've got 12 minutes here. We can go to take a look at any of the different stocks that you folks want to take a look at. I know, James, you were mentioning Ondas here. I am seeing that. I will say that I'm not really expecting a whole lot out of some of the higher beta names recently, but the just kind of given the action that we've seen here, I know Ondas had a really tough day yesterday, closing down 12%. Ondas initiated with a buy at Stifel. So Stifel Nicholas initiates coverage, $13 price target. So all of this stuff is really kind of lining up here. That's what's going on. I will say, speaking of trend lines, we do have kind of a nasty one that we would love to break to the upside here that I'll go ahead and add to the daily chart. We also gave up the 50. I'd love to see that get recaptured here in pretty quick order. that would be awesome. Otherwise, I do think 654 likely your support area here on ONDS. ONDS. Did you guys talk about the data? Yeah, we gave you the data as soon as it came out here today. The other thing that we had mentioned regarding that data was that the S&P or the market in general popped on that data and then pretty much gave it all back right away. Here is a look when that data was released. Immediately traded higher, reversed, and we're basically right back to where we started at unchanged. So that stuff came out, market reacted, and then kind of went back to where it was. Jay Harris wants to take a look at Broadcom. ARK took, Kathy saying ARK took recent positions in Circle, BMR, and CoreWeave. That was one of the stories that I talked about earlier, Kathy, before you got here. They also sold Tesla. That was part of the other that was part of that story as well. So interesting stuff there. All right, let's take a look at Broadcom here. Oh, and then QBTS is getting mentioned. That's something else that I want to, that's a really good reminder. That's something else that I want to take a look at. We'll start with Broadcom, and then we'll go to some of those quantum names. But here we are with Broadcom. Now, this is basically right at its 100-day moving average, right? I've got that 100-day moving average at 340.62. Stock is at 336. It's beneath it here today. And then we also here, let me turn the VWAP off just so it's less confusing. So we're beneath the 100. We're right there. Do we recapture it? Last time that we came down to these moving averages at the 20 and the 50, we were unable to recapture them. Let's see if the story changes here on Broadcom. 13, did you have anything on this? Oh, you know what? Before you do that, let me highlight this because this is right here on the chart. Day traders all over it. Big gap fill down to 316 for Broadcom, and it looks possible. Simply put, yikes. Here's what we're talking about here. It looks like this low, we're not far away from this, right? This low here about 323, 323 to 325. This low right here from October 10th, we fill as we fill this gap down here. It looks like I've got it measured at about 306. You might be measuring the...
Yeah, don't measure the August 13th candle. That's not the gap fill. The gap fill is from September 4th to September 5th.
Yeah, that's what I'm looking at here. I've got that at about 306.
Yeah, so the gap fill is potentially even lower. And if it gets down there, then maybe that's where it reverses. We haven't really gotten too extended to the downside yet, so it certainly could go lower. I think we are coming down to a potential area of support. I drew a trend line here using that August 13th high, drew it through the low of October 10th. And that kind of gave me, just another level to watch for, see what happens there. I'm not sure if it's going to hold up or not, but I do think that 330 is a level to watch for.
Okay.
I also think that if that doesn't hold up, then I'd be looking at 323, and then the rest of the gap fill down to the 306 level that we were talking about earlier. Okay.
All right. Really good stuff there. How was that, Jay Harris? You like those Broadcom levels? Let me know what your trade plan there is on Broadcom.
And I just want to mention too that this is a pretty big drop off the highs for Broadcom. So we are getting into, we're really into corrective territory, approaching bear territory with this. So if we do end up going under 330, I'd be a little bit concerned about this going even further down because I don't know how soon it's going to turn around once we've entered bear territory.
Okay, Diamond Hotline wants levels on Tesla. So we can do that next here. Here's what your Tesla chart looks like. Remember, we were telling you about Cathie Wood earlier. Cathie Wood dumped 59 million in Tesla stock. And then the other piece of news that we were talking about is that the market kind of seems like it's not really valuing Tesla as a car company anymore. Rather, it seems to be valuing it as a technology company. Here's what the chart actually looks like. 13, just sticking with the trend line theme. I mean, gosh, it sure looks like this wants to touch our upsloping trend line. I have that value right around 513. Sure, we could run into some perhaps some resistance around that round $500 level. But what do you have for Tesla levels here today?
So that trend line I think you're talking about starts with November 5th of 2021. And if you draw that line through the high from December of last year,
you got it.
That's going to give us, I think you already got it there. That's going to kind of give us a potential target of where this might end up going, which is going to be at about, maybe just shy of 520. But it looks like based on this, and we're breaking out of some resistance around, I think it's 470, 471. We're breaking out of some resistance there. Now, if we and we closed above it yesterday, if we can continue higher above that resistance, I mean, I think that 500 seems like a real possibility. Don't think it's going to happen today, but maybe later this week, next week, if momentum continues to push up here. But don't know what how the path looks to get to 500. But it looks like we're going to be hitting it pretty soon, unless the whole market starts to turn around and takes Tesla with it.
Now, remember, I talked a little bit about that. 13, one of the things that we did discuss here, we want to create a segment on the show called Street Tweets, where we talk about some of the financial and market related tweets out there. I prepared, and by the way, call to action for the group here. 13, I know that you despise social media with a very burning fervor, and that's fine. But anyone that has any really interesting tweet that you think we should discuss or cover, I'm all ears. I want to hear about it. Here's the one that I was talking about earlier this morning, 13. Stocks tend to bottom on December 15th and rally into the end of the year. What's today?
The 16th. So.
The 16th. And yesterday we saw a sell-off, a little bit of a continuation from the one that we saw on Friday. Also, I don't know if you were around for any of these, but when we had Anne Marie on last week for her segment, a lot of the different charts that she brought up, both the ones that she prepared and the ones that she took from the chat here, her little seasonality line showed this dip here in the middle of December, and it sure looks like we're getting this out, or we're getting this coming to fruition here. So Ryan Dietrich says the same thing. Those are two people that I value quite a bit. Maybe we do get a little bit of a trade back up here. What do you think about that, 13?
So I guess my thought here is we'd probably be wanting to look at the stocks that have been getting beaten down, or it looks like they're bottoming. And if that's the case, then I don't know that I would be wanting to keep an eye on Tesla, because that hasn't been going down. That's been going up.
I gotcha.
That's been rallying into this December bottoming action. So that's opposite. I don't know that that's going to continue with Tesla. Maybe some other ones get more attention than this one today.
Now, here's the one thing. Here's the one monkey wrench I'm going to throw into that. Yesterday, when we saw this big up move out of the open, remember, we were watching Tesla trade up. Several of you folks were on it. And I took a look at the unusual option transaction, and it did seem like there were some upside bets pretty much close to 500. And a lot of those contracts expired this week. So it did seem yesterday, based on the option flow, there was a lot of upside positioning on Tesla for the short term. We'll see if that pans out here for the rest of December. We've got some other good stuff kind of telling us that maybe we do have some upside.
We have an AMCI trendline break.
Which one? AMCI trendline break? I can bring that up here real quick. Okay, and you know what? I have the trend line on a different one. Let me redraw it here. I think what you had was this.
Yeah.
And you have a move through it. Actually looks like a bit of a back test on it as well.
So this might be moving up higher into the open. I think $13 is going to be the next resistance area to the upside if this holds up above this trend line.
Okay. Really quickly here, Jay saying, been pretty easy since the April lows. It's going to get harder, in my opinion. Stock selection and entries will matter. Well, Jay, you know exactly what I'm going to say to this. First of all, what stocks do you have on your radar for the end of December and early January? But also, I would ask that if entries really matter, focus on that when we're talking about some of these stocks that might make good buying opportunities. I'm very curious to know what some of those levels are. Joe says, Ryan and 13, please analyze December 2024. I began trading around then and I got pummeled during what I saw as an anti-Santa rally right up until the new year. Okay. Well, this is the first thing that I'll say. The Santa rally is just something that we kind of talk about all of the time. Remember, I know there's been a lot of back and forth here on the Santa rally. The Santa rally is only the last 5 days of December and the first 2 trading days of January. That's it. A lot of people might say it's something else. They'd all be wrong. So just keep that in mind first when it comes to the Santa rally. Now, you're asking about December last year. I'm not sure.
And we got it seemed like we got the rally early, and then that was it. Like on December 26th, that was the high following Christmas, and then we kind of faded into the new year. And then we had a rally mid-January that took us higher. I don't know what the news was around then. That could have been.
I was going to say, Joe, I hate to let you down, but man, I have trouble remembering what I did last week, let alone last December.
And we're open.
And we're open.
Here goes AMCI.
Let's see what we can get here from today. All right, let me bring AMCI up here real quick.
It's trying to push up into that 13 area, not my area, the dollars. This is where resistance was in the after hours, so we could get some more of that.
The one other thing that I said I wanted to cover that I ran out of time with, Quantum. Pretty much got a upgrade across the board from Jefferies. I believe it was Rigetti, QBTS, and IONQ. Let me go double check QBTS. I know it was Rigetti. I'm looking at the piece of news right here, and I believe that this was also IN. Here it is. QBTS, QUBT, Rigetti, and IONQ all trading higher on the back of this quantum computing. They're not ready yet, says a deep tech fund manager, but they did get a little bit of upgrades. Okay. Back to the chart here. What we got?
Riley's already sinking. Getting support from the 200 EMA for the moment. We'll see what happens after that.
Glad we called that.
We have CPAC, the fresh maker. That's getting hammered right out of the gate here after hitting 10.
Is there a Mentos joke in there that I missed?
Yeah, from Joseph Schmo. Remember, he said this Cementos sounds like.
Right.
See, Joe, he doesn't remember the jokes we just said. So
I
not remember what happened.
And you're out here trying to ask me about December 2024. I don't know if that's a good idea. Riley here, by the way, right to that 200 EMA 13. That was really good placement right there.
So yeah,
really good placement
right down there. To your point about Rigetti, that's taken off a little bit here. So RGTZ coming in. I think I saw some news yesterday. I think it was LAZR. That went into, that was the company that went into bankruptcy. And QUBT, Quantum Computing, ended up picking up their business segment.
Okay. Is there a trade there, do you think?
I mean, if there is, I think it might have already happened. Because it was yesterday when that was announced. BDRX is halted. Yeah, so is CPAC, by the way. So those two halt times there, 9:30:21 and then 9:31:49. So we're looking at 9:35:21 and 9:36:49 is the possible resumption for those two equities. All right. So, it looks like AMCI was about to go underneath that trend line and looks like it reversed. And now it's going higher. Resolve AI here. Looks like this is trying to hold the 9 EMA on that pullback. Actually, and I have, I turned VWAP off here. That was an accident. I have this thing coming right into VWAP. Look at that. 287 looks like on the nose it hit and then bounced. Some movers from yesterday starting to get a little bit of price action. I don't know how great they're going to be, but MIST is up a little bit. It's contending with its 200 EMA. GLSI, same thing, 200 EMA. Volume's not looking too great in these, but just getting a little bit of movement. If they get more attention, maybe they get even more movement. Jay mentioning Broadcom 3-day red to green move here on Broadcom. Indeed, look at that, a little bit weak in the pre-market. This straight up out of the gate. Yep. Jay, is there more upside legs here, or is this a short at maybe what 347? Let me know what you think here. If there's more upside here, Broadcom. We're about to go into a halt with AMCI, blasted through 13, halting at 1371. It's on its way to the after hours high yesterday, which was 1540. There might be some resistance around 1450. Keep that in mind, but let's see what happens after this halt or unhalt.
Okay. BMNR, that was another one from Kathy, seeing some put flow in here in BMNR. It looks like this is near the lows here after that insider selling. IONQ, which we just talked about, that also part of the quantum theme, that is trading up here out of the open, actually on some pretty decent volume as well. Broadcom continuing to trade up, 343 now, 345 seems to be next. And then you had mentioned that AMCI halted there. 934.10, by the way, was the time on that halt.
So far, that trend line that I have here that I drew just exclusively for today in Broadcom, holding up so far. Vero up at volume stinks. Let's look at Vero because that was one of the movers, and we just didn't cover it really. This was kind of sinking after the move yesterday and in the pre-market, recapturing VWAP right now. So maybe we do see this come up to 230, where there could be some resistance.
221's the VWAP, that test on deck here now. And by the way, Resolve trying to break 3 to the upside. That might be a key spot there. No position on that, though. I don't know if I feel great about that. That entry down at the VWAP at 287 looked a lot better. AZI getting mentioned here by Got Motion. That's a $2 stock. Looks like that's trying to go to its VWAP as well. AutoZ Internet Tech.
Oh, I bet I know where this is from.
China.
Gosh, that
Oklo's popping on news.
Well, we're probably getting all these, all the spec names to come back. So drones, nuclear, quantum computing, and let's take a look at space. Is space coming back up?
Really quickly here, the news on Oklo. U.S. Department of Energy approves preliminary documented safety analysis of Oklo's Aurora Fuel Fab facility. That's fun to say. Fuel Fab facility, as assembly begins at the Idaho National Laboratory.
Well, how about that? We have almost all the space names up.
And also Archer. Izzy here mentioning that Archer is up. There's some news here that they plan for UK engineering hub and hires a British eVTOL veteran engineering leader. So it looks like Archer also trading up here. I know you don't necessarily include this in space, but just mentioning because there's also some news there as well.
That means Joby's up as well.
Yep.
Be curious to see how Boeing's doing. Is that up? That's up slightly.
Broadcom call flow here on the unusual option scanner. These are, by the way, these are this week calls here. Looks like they're trading 350 in the 340s. And actually, these aren't even, are they? No, I don't think those are part of a spread.
So you have CPAC open now. That popped up to 1018 and retreated. It's kind of going sideways at the moment. We're waiting for AMCI to unhalt. Looks like B. Riley is trying to climb higher, but there's a seller in the way at 484.
Looks like Beat, one of our movers here. This moved yesterday, midday. Looks like we're getting some extended moves here on Beat. And guess what, 13? The trend line might come back into play here. Let me extend it.
BDRX at the trend line now.
BDRX, I'll go to that one next here. Just let me extend this trend line here on Beat. That gives us a target in a 4 handle. BDRX, right?
Yep.
Got it. Here is your BDRX right at that VWAP. Resolve, by the way, broke down. Could not get above 3 and pulled now beneath its VWAP there.
Riley up at coming up to the resistance area. That's where the seller at 484 is. If you look at the 5-minute chart, you can see how that 484, 485 area, lots of resistance, all pre-market with just a few moves above it that took us up to the trend line and then retreated. So trying to get back up through this 484 area.
I got my hover. Let me refresh Pro here. My hover over is stuck, unfortunately.
Looks like Vero
hovered over the wrong things, 13.
Vero pushed through 230, then came back underneath it. It's still looking like it's trying to recapture it again.
Matt here mentioning CGC and Tilray. Here's CGC. We're getting a little bit of continuation off of the move. Well, actually, we pulled back a little bit. This coming back here. Really quick, I did have a story for this. Didn't have time, but I'll just breeze through this here real quick. Trump had weighed in on some of the marijuana changes, said a lot of people want to see it. Quote, we're looking...
Guys open higher.
I'll just go back to that. I don't think we want to go through this news here.
Sorry.
No, it's all right. I meant to cover this earlier, ran out of time, but I don't think anyone's interested.
Now it's halted the downside after hitting 1450. So we went right up to pretty much where that so a lot of those wicks from the pre-market were. Didn't hit the 1540 yet, but the other wicks we hit.
And there is your halt. So this is your second halt of the day. This one to the downside at 1292. Oop, I'm not sharing the right screen.
And yeah, it's ever since that Trump mentioned about making the rescheduling an executive order, I think that added a little bit more fuel to these cannabis names. So he's kind of putting it in his hands a little bit, and not so much Congress. But I still think this needs an act of Congress, and with different respects, like the Safer Banking Act and things like that.
Yeah, I was going to say we've done a good job outlining some of the other things that need to happen. Just the executive order alone might not be it. The quote that I wanted to get to here, quote, a lot of people want to see it, the reclassification, because it leads to tremendous amounts of research that can't be done unless you reclassify, end quote.
Right.
That quote was attributed to Reuters, coming directly from Trump. The article also mentioned that CGC, SNDL, MSOS, Tilray all traded higher on the back of that news.
Looks like BDRX is the only one that's really trying to make a move here. 715 has a large seller in the way, and that's about where that trend line is. So if we can get through this, then I think we might see some prints above 745. That's the next big resistance area I have above 715. They're trying to hit it right now. If we get enough volume, it'll push through. What's that?
We drew on this AMCI, we drew a trend line yesterday that connected the after hours high and the pre-market high. We went towards the trend line during the regular session, but didn't actually take the trend line out until the after hours. 13, what I've done here today is I've just simply extended this trend line. We'll see if we end up challenging that.
That should work. Brian's done enough marijuana research for the whole country. I think he thinks we need to legalize it. So thank you for your sacrifice.
I personally, that was well done there, 13. I personally agree with Brian. Frankly, I would like to see the resources here focused more on other more terrible things than some plant that makes people happy and laugh a lot. It's just my own personal view on that, though. SPY is bleeding, by the way. We did lose 680, 678 now is where we're at. We'll see if that ends up taking out the pre-market lows. Sorry, 13.
CPAC is trying to get back into the $10 area. Vero having a hard time staying above VWAP. It's still above it, but it looks like it might be getting walked down here. AZI, that's above VWAP. That's trying to push a higher. It did get up over 225 earlier and then retreated. So some sellers in the way there. Just waiting to see if we're going to get this move here with BDRX through the trend line. And if we get that, 475 is the next resistance level I have. And then after that, it might be either $8, $10, or $9, depending on what the volume looks like.
By the way, we had a poll earlier. Do we rally into the end of the year? Very simple one. Yes, no. 66% of you said yes. 34% of you said no. So it looks like we lean on the bullish side.
B. Riley still getting some support from the 200 EMA. It's the second time this morning. Be a little bit concerned about this continuing to get hammered here. Eventually, if that happens, the price will break down. But so far, it's trying to reverse.
Jamie Dimon, good to see you here this morning. What do you think of the news yesterday that we got about JP Morgan rivaling BlackRock and Goldman Sachs with tokenized money market fund? I don't think you were here yesterday when we discussed this, so I will drop that in the chat for you. Just curious to and how bearish you are on that piece of news.
I like that comment there, Mr. Diamond. That's a good one. It's it could be eventually great, but I think we need to have the broader access to banking before we start to see it do well.
I think when it comes to actually looking at numbers for these companies to see how they're performing, I don't think you can reasonably do that without the Banking Act that we've been talking about, 13. So I think that is definitely a huge catalyst, if you will. All right, Tilray still pushing though.
Yeah, it looks like all these stocks are trying to get to the next level in their respective stock prices, but
a lot of these stocks being rejected by the VWAP.
Yeah.
BDRX stopped right at the VWAP. Riley can't get above its VWAP.
CPAC.
AZI stopped at its VWAP. Here, let me go to CPAC 13.
BDRX looks like it's trying to push the trend line, but it's having a real hard time getting above 715 or getting back into the 7 handle.
CPAC, nice.
MCI is open. Sorry.
Above it. Let's take a look at it. You're good?
MCI is open at gap down.
To its VWAP?
Pretty close. It could hit it pretty soon if this selling continues. All right. Let's see what's going to happen with BDRX here. I'm just kind of wondering if this is going to reverse here or if we're going to get a breakout. Volume seems to be evaporating. MSOS, says Izzy. That's the marijuana ETF. Probably having a really good day. Was it over 7 now?
578.
Oh, okay. It's over-treated from yesterday. I think it was up over 6 yesterday.
It was. It looked like 6 was kind of a resistance area in the New York session yesterday. Right. Beat looks like that's trying to take 3.
CPAC.
Yeah, trying to retake 3. Sorry.
CPAC is 11 now. That's the current high.
That was actually the what did you call it? The Mentos one. That was that was the better mover of today.
It's funny too because we weren't really sure about this one because it had so little volume in the pre-market.
Envy us. I like my returns just like I like my influences. I think you meant influences. Anyway, high. I like them high. All the way up.
CPAC just tearing. It's continuing to go 11.29. This doesn't. It's interesting because this doesn't have a small float really, but it's pushing.
Really quickly, does anyone else out there use X Pro at all? I noticed that my X Pro is not showing me the most recent tweets in my home feed, although it is aggregating them correctly in my different columns. So just wondering there.
Resolve AI trying to resolve up to the VWAP. Vero pushing up to the 230. This will be the next visit after getting rejected the first time. CPAC up to 1130. That was a nice series of moves.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on here. Envious says update. Are you talking about the update to X? Been having that problem for 2 days with regular X. Okay, Gluten, thank you. So it's not just me. That's the one thing that I've confirmed here. It's not just me. Hopefully they get that fixed. I don't think there's any setting that I adjusted improperly. Ford looks like 14 still stopping it. We talked about that level when we talked about them writing off the EV for $19.5 billion. Ryan Summerall mentioning SoFi again. I'm sorry we didn't get to this prior to the open.
Missed. It's continuing higher, running into some resistance around 258, but this mover from yesterday still pushing higher, up over 8% now.
And really quick here with SoFi, I mean, we're basically into the consolidation range yesterday that we broke down from. Great that we're able to get back in this, but I don't think the story's over here until you take out 26 3/4. I think we need to go higher here on SoFi to really kind of eliminate what we did yesterday on the chart. Resolve, so we talked about that one pulling back and losing VWAP, really struggled with $3. Actually looks like this is trying to bounce off of the pre-market consolidation area down there at about 275. I don't know if I trust this. We did recapture VWAP here. No position for me on Resolve. I don't know if I love this one. And actually 13, just kind of going with the trend line theme. We got a real steep one here, but we might be challenging that. Yes, but I only chat on YouTube while you are on here. Benzinga Pro plus subscriber here. Awesome. Love to hear that. Absolutely love to hear that.
IMNM from yesterday. This is moving as well. And Immunome.
Remember, this popped in the pre-market. Again, another register ring there for the trims. I think it was Jay that was trimming this in the pre-market. This was the David Prince mention from T3. Nice to see us curling back up here. Again, though, pretty much right into the range where we traded sideways yesterday. Want to see that taken out.
Missed running into some real resistance here. Big seller, like I said earlier, at 258. I'm starting to see a series of upper shadows that might indicate this is coming back down. Vero is still trying to push higher. Might actually get some new session highs here.
Tesla getting mentioned here by Yassine. Yassine, by the way, I'm still seeing some call flow in here. 480, 475, 470. These are all for this week. So it looks like there's short-term option trading going on in Tesla. This right on red green as we speak. Right on red green.
Well, what's looking interesting here? Market's trying to go green. It seems like it is trying, and it's just is it just not having the participation?
Yeah, I mean, look here. I can bring up a SPY chart here if you want to take a look at that. It looks like it is trying to bounce here a little bit. Looks like it really kind of held the low from the pre-market, and it's trying to bounce. But don't you think we really need to get healthily above 680 here? I feel like that's going to be one of the key levels here today.
I mean, well, it's kind of interesting that where we opened. Let's see, this was 1 second. This was opened at 679.23. That's pretty close to the lows from the past 2 days.
SPY really starting to accelerate to the upside here. Joe, you're absolutely right about that. You know what? We're seeing this in the NASDAQ too. Q's at the highs of the morning. Dow following. So it looks like we are trading here. 13, what level do you think we need to get back above to really kind of carry this to the upside here today?
Oh, I think that would have to be 684.
684. Okay, so that I'm with you on that. Still 3 points away from that, so really anything can happen here.
Yeah, market just, I mean, a lot of these names are just going sideways right now. CPAC is one of the only ones that's made some new upside here. AMCI, that's kind of just, going sideways, might actually be rolling over here. Riley hasn't really done a whole lot out of the gate except test this 200 EMA constantly.
Circle's trading up on the back of that Cathie Wood purchase from yesterday. Also, CRCA. Well, that's SPXS. That's the Direction Bear ETF. The ProShares Ultra Circle ETF. This thing's only $4. This is not bad here. And you guys were talking about PayPal earlier. I'm sorry we didn't necessarily get to the news here on PayPal. Here's what your PayPal chart looks like. God, I feel like it's in the same range every single time we take a look at this. This is actually in the low 60s here. It's doing a decent job holding the Liberation Day lows. We got news that they filed for a bank charter. PayPal Holdings submits application to the Utah Department of Financial Institutions and Federal Deposit Insurance Corp to establish PayPal Bank.
Okay.
So PayPal wants to become a bank. I know we've talked about this one quite a bit. Seeks the bank charter there. It is trading higher here by just shy of 2%. And it is near a support level.
Yeah, I don't know. Kind of consolidating ever since it lost or ever since it fell out of the sideways price action or lost 65. So we're just kind of consolidating there right now. I don't know if we're going to turn around here. I think that this consolidation after a massive drop like this could lead to more downside. So if that's the case, the downside levels I have are 60 and 57.
Okay. That's what's going on with PayPal. Be honest, I feel like I've just struck out with PayPal a bunch of times. I'm a little bit more hesitant to take the trade here. Last one on PayPal, no bueno. CGC trading back up here, so this having another good day. We really struggled to get above 2 yesterday. We'll see if we have the strength to do that here today. Yeah, X Sniper, I understand that the PayPal there, fining people for free speech. I don't blame you. I totally get it there. Maybe that's affecting it. I still think that product is pretty good. Maybe it's competition. You want to take a look at Vero 13?
I was just mentioning that it's higher now. Print new session highs, getting some support from VWAP.
Okay, SPY still holding here. It's flirting with 680. 680 and then 684 are likely our key areas there. No Izzy, no trades here today. I haven't seen anything I liked so far. And actually, 13, I'm going to go get a sweater real quick. So whatever that sweater indicator was that you guys have going, let me know what the trade is to take. I'm officially going to get it, BRB.
All right. So while he does that, I'm just going to see if there's anything else that's moving here. It looks like we're finally getting some good moves out of AMCI. That just had a nice pop up there, but not sustaining. Would like to see this get back up to over $13. So we'll see what happens here. Started just whipping around all of a sudden. Wild price action. And CPAC, that's back underneath VWAP. AMCI, I might get a 13 print here. It's looking like we are getting a little bit of volume. Let's be careful. Momentum was starting to swing to the downside before this move, so just be careful. BDRX, that's under VWAP. Resolve AI is trying to resolve higher here, recapturing VWAP right now, or in the process of doing so. And what else? I mean, I don't know about B. Riley. This thing has just not gone anywhere except just hammer the 200 EMA. Not sure about that one.
H&H Tactical, I had to sue PayPal and I won. Wow.
All right.
Yeah, glad you won. Wonder what you had to sue him for, but good stuff.
There's
AMCI. See the little guy making it out.
There's AMCI going. It was blasting off through $13. It's up in the 1320s now.
Not quite at that trend line. Good morning, James. Good to see you.
Oh, that trend line. Gotcha. I'm still using the one we drew from the just the intraday. The one that we broke out of, because if we're coming back in, I'm going to look at that as a bit of a support level. Tesla, I haven't looked at Tesla since we talked about it. What's it doing today?
It's trading up. It actually dipped a little bit out of the open and then ripped to the highs. 480 still the spot, though.
Right on.
Jay says, Twilio, I don't own it, but it's been pretty good since the earnings. Jay, follow-up question there. You think there's some more legs here on Twilio?
We're getting a move here with BDRX. It's coming up to the trend line. This is very low volume. I don't know if it's going to make it through, but if it does, great. And 475 would be the next resistance area, but need to see that volume. Resolve AI still trying to, so it's above VWAP, but it seems like it's continuing to get less and less volume as time goes on.
Costco, by the way, that's coming in here, 850. I think we talked about some different spots here. 860 might have been one of them. 8 might have been one of them. This notable, breaking yesterday's intraday lows.
Palantir have news. Let me see. Doesn't, I mean, let's look and see if there is any news. Looks like a Bank of America analyst made some comments on it, and that was very early in the morning. I don't know if it's moving on that. It could just
on what is this?
This is Palantir. I mean, this
on Palantir. Okay.
It could be, like we were just talking about earlier, how a lot of these, hyper mover names, like all the drones and the nuclear and everything, all that theme. This was also moving up when that theme was happening, so it's probably more of a relationship trade. I don't think there's any real news here that's causing this to go higher.
And looking at Palantir's intraday chart here, it actually looks very similar to the NASDAQ chart. So to your point, 13, it seems like it's just kind of trading with the overall index today.
Yeah, I think you just got to kind of, oh, look, AMCI is still trying to push higher. It's having trouble with 1350, but it's trying to get through that area. I think you just got to be careful with a lot of these.
Webcoin says Palantir news is that they are the best. I would agree with that. I would agree with that. Giving America an unfair advantage, which we will take.
So it's old news. It's running on old news then.
Actually, well done, 13. Indeed. Indeed. Right. NNDM, Nano Dimension. Looks like this spiked and came back in towards yesterday's intraday high. Did we have any news on NNDM? Wasn't on my list this morning. Nope. The general meeting of shareholders. When does this take place? Does it say in here? It does not say.
Getting some pullback and some names.
Doesn't say. Just gave some bullets on that. Pullback. And which one are you looking at?
Just several names. It seems like they're all kind of struggling right now to push higher. Just all the movers that we were looking at. CPAC just recaptured its VWAP, but it's so low volume. I don't know, if this is going to be able to get back up to 1130 or not. AMCI is all over the place, under 13, above 13. Still can't seem to clear 1350 quite yet. I'm just waiting to see if B. Riley's actually going to start making some 5-minute candles close beneath the 200 EMA. This thing has been hammering it all morning, and it looks like it just wants to go lower.
The cannabis stock's still high.
I see what you did there. $272 support in Apple's is Tenzin. Broadcom is slowly giving it back up. I just not sure which one is going to make the next move. It seems like they're all kind of like struggling to get to their next levels. Seeing a lot of pullback in some of the other names. Vero is starting to push up again. Let's see if it can get past 240.
That's VERO?
That's it.
Okay. Gil here is asking, is it too late to request mark-to-market election for January next year? I believe it is, but you, as always, as we will always say with tax-related questions here, please consult a tax expert. That's neither 13 nor I's expertise.
AMCI just had a pop up to slightly over 14, looks like 1408, and then came right back in.
I believe really quickly on that mark-to-market election, you need to make that by the time the return is due the year prior. So if your return was due in April last year or this year, if your return for 2024 was due in April of 2025, I believe you need to have that election made by that date. But as mentioned at the top there, please consult a tax professional. That is not our wheelhouse. AMCI
is going to halt again.
1439. It's going to halt right here if it holds.
Yep.
Looks like they're selling into that bid here, but so far it's holding 13.
Yeah, and let's look at us.
And halted.
Here. Yeah, it's yeah, absolutely. And I think the next level that we're going to want to keep an eye on is 15 and then 16. It seems like that's just the two most recent highs that they've been trying to put in here.
Now 16 is right where the trend line is. So you think we're gonna go up to that trend line? Because I wouldn't even be surprised if that's the case.
All right, good. And then here goes Vero now that that other one's halted. And so 248 new session high for Vero. I'm just looking to see if there's any others that are moving now that AMCI is halted. Doesn't look like it. BDRX still struggling with that trend line. I just think the big problem with BDRX doesn't have the volume. Watch it suddenly just get a spike, but that's what it's going to need. It's going to need a lot more volume to move through that trend line. What's next?
I'm kind of scrolling through the movers here. Pot stocks still running to the highs. That would include MSOS, Tilray, and CGC. Those all look pretty good. Circle on the back of that Kathy would buy. That's also at the highs here. What's Bitcoin doing? Bitcoin 87,000 right now. Actually, Bitcoin looks like it's chopping around intraday at this level. Oil lower here at 55. Bernhard reminding you Costco's at your target 13. 846. I tell you what, Costco looks awfully weak here today. Definitely hurts my heart just a little bit to see it. But Costco weak here today as we breach yesterday's intraday lows and pound the lows here today. 846.
So Vero trying to push into 250. There's a seller in the way there, but they're hitting them right now. And then 255 is the session or pre-market high. We're up there now, finding resistance. We're just waiting for AMCI to unhalt. Looks like B. Riley finally had a close beneath its 200 EMA. So I think this may end up printing some more lows here.
Vero popping through that spot you just outlined, 13. As soon as you talked about a different stock, it's like, oh, I'm going to go now.
Okay, his eyes are off it. Let's go.
Exactly. This actually popping now. 280 is your high print.
Mm-hmm. And 283 is where this might end up going to. That is the 200-day EMA.
Okay, it looks like it made a run from there already. I think you mentioned Laser at the beginning here. This was the stock that got absolutely pounded yesterday. It's a penny stock down here at 36 cents. The bounce attempt that it tried in the pre-market sold right back down to balance.
Yeah, I don't think I'd want to really touch that one. I know we've talked about the bankruptcy plays. They've already sold part of their business to quantum computing. There's a matter of all the debt they have. I don't think it's worth dealing with that right now. It might be better later, but right now I don't think I'd want to touch that.
Jamie Dimon here. The Trump administration probably will not regulate crypto. That's the whole point. Money laundering to hide your profits. Did you factor in your TDS to that? Not bullish on the JP Morgan news. Well, if the CEO is not bullish on the news there, that is generally speaking a problem.
Aside from Vero, it doesn't look, Vero's pulling back, but aside from that, I don't see anything that's really making a move yet. Maybe MSOS, marijuana stocks try and push higher. 609 was the high yesterday. That could be a short-term target. I don't know.
iRobot getting mentioned here by Jay. This was one of the big movers from yesterday. Jay, I love this comment. Look at iRobot. There's no reason to buy bankrupt companies. I almost want to print this out and stick it to my wall, to be quite honest with you, because I get frustrated watching some of these bankrupt companies make tremendous moves. Like, do you remember Hertz? Do you remember when Hertz declared bankruptcy and went from like $1 to like $11 or whatever it was? None of it made sense. I don't like this bankruptcy trade. I've just been kind of talking about it because we've seen some of these move. This is a really good mention here, though. We didn't really bounce yesterday, and now I think we're actually in danger of losing the pre-market lows from yesterday morning.
We lost $1, so we're in a whole other territory now.
Yeah. I'm with you on this one, though, Jay. The bankrupt there's better trades out there. Even some of these kind of crummy catalysts that end up moving some of these little movers, I still think that's better than bankruptcy in a lot of cases. Oh, did you put the pot leaf in the sky, 13? Because wisdom's here on a pot day.
We've just been talking about it. AMCI is open. It tried to push higher, hasn't been able to yet. Still 1444. It looks like is the high that it just made. Hadn't been able to get up to 1450, which is the high of the regular session here.
Actually, Wiss says some penny stocks are better trades than bankrupt companies. That I'll agree with. Bet you weren't ready for that, Wiss. But I'll agree with you on that one. Yeah. I think Hertz came out of bankruptcy. It did, Jay. But I mean, I remember the day that the bankruptcy headlines were coming out, stock was trading up like crazy.
It came out of bankruptcy and then bought a bunch of Teslas. So obviously the business practices have not changed with that company.
Speaking of Tesla, yesterday's intraday highs. We there. We there.
All right. 500 coming.
Funky Cold Stock says, I'm trying to quit weed, and you're just talking about it today. It happens to be moving today. Pick the wrong day to stop huffing glue, apparently.
Yeah.
Well, the days where pot is actually making news, probably the wrong day to do that as well.
Nothing's looking great.
I was going to say, I haven't seen really anything that's looked good here. This Vero move that you had called out, that wasn't terrible. I don't think Thinkorswim. Didn't someone say they tried to buy AMCI yesterday and couldn't? In Thinkorswim, their broker was rejecting the orders?
Probably. AMCI just printed a new session high, 1504, and then it backed off of that. So it's like you get these new high prints, and then they immediately get sold into. Be careful. I'm trying to save it today.
Don't look now. Kron calls going off here. This is Kronos. This is another pot name. This was higher yesterday. Back down here basically to where it found some support from Friday. It looks like it's actually trying to ramp. I don't know if it's going to do that, though.
Yeah, they did dump the Teslas, Izzy, but at a massive discount because they were trying to offload them as quickly as they could. MCI is still hasn't retreated yet. Maybe we do see some higher prints in the 15, but I couldn't tell you if this is going to be good or not. It's just one of these weird days. It's just one of them days.
Big pullback there on Vero. Hopefully you're liquidated into that up move. AMCI, I still think we're going to get the trend line 13. Maybe I'm crazy, but I still think we're going to get that.
Yeah, it starts to get into this swing in momentum where it starts to look like it's going to roll over, and then it gets a whole influx of buyers to bid it up.
So interestingly enough there, Tesla ran into that 480 resistance, and I'm actually starting to see some of the flow flip to puts here. Now, not all of it. There's still call buying going on. Here's another one for 500, which we kind of said would be the next target here. But it actually does look like there are some traders positioning for downside movement at 480, which so far has stopped Tesla today.
Vero got support from BWAP and is trying to turn around.
I know we talked a little bit about the space theme earlier. I'm seeing XIII get mentioned on X.
Yeah, that's the one that's down the most on my watch list.
Yeah.
Meanwhile,
I wonder if it's a dash for trash at that point.
Meanwhile, Momentous, that was moving yesterday, that's up 10%.
Ryan needs to sing more tickers. We relax some things around here. I don't think anybody in this entire broadcast wants to see me singing. I'm just going to go out on a limb and say that. I don't think anyone wants that. Is anyone trading NVIDIA by chance?
Sorry, I was just reading to see if there was any news regarding XIII, and apparently they had some news yesterday. They're going to deliver AI on-orbit data.
They're going to say that again. They're going to deliver AI what?
On-orbit data. This is one of the companies. This is one of the companies that's been tapped to do a data center on the moon, and put data centers in space by Lone Star Holdings, I believe is the company. So we'll see how that ends up happening. But that's one of the things they've been tapped for.
Hi, Amanda. Good morning. How's swimming going? Smel's asking, are you going to sing Christmas carols? Really quickly, first of all, no, I'm not. But does anyone still get carolers in their neighborhood? I feel like that's like a thing from the old days that we don't really see anymore. Let me know if anyone ever sees carolers. Joe says, we might like to see you sing, but not hear it. Give it a shot. I see what you did there, Joe. You tried to rope me into something there. I'm not going to take the bite, though.
Vero back above the trend line we drew earlier. It's getting a lift up towards 280. That was the high of the session. We're also getting some recovery in, looks like Resolve AI was still trying to get back over the VWAP. We'll see if that ends up happening.
That was actually kind of disappointing earlier today, Resolve AI. Maybe that's firming up now.
It's just kind of sideways right now.
Yeah, okay. So the trend line, that very steep trend line that I plotted, 13, we're through it, but we're through it on a technicality. We moved sideways through it. So we didn't actually like trade up and break it.
I'd like to see it trade up and break through it, not just kind of step over the line, you know?
Me too. And I don't know if we're going to do that. Our church carols every year, the youth goes out to the elderly folks. That's awesome. Happens everywhere in the Philippines. Carolers all over the place. That's pretty cool. Big B's, not to put you on the spot, but if you're ever able to get a video of that, that would be pretty cool. Vic says, we'll go for you rapping. Those days are over, Vic. I tried to freestyle when I was younger in high school, and it didn't go well. 3D says there's Christmas carolers at her church. Well, there's still hope out there. I love it.
We I don't recall getting many carolers over where I live, but we do have Santa riding a fire truck every year.
Okay. Santa riding a fire truck is pretty badass. Not going to lie. Blends in with the paint scheme, I'm assuming. So, Corey's buying BM&R. So we talked about this one. This also part of the Kathy Wood purchase there. I like Kathy Wood's strategy. Not sure if we're at the bottom, but it was $71 months ago, and I think we're headed back in that direction. So here's your BM&R chart. Now, what the thing that we're doing here in the immediate landscape here, obviously we're trying to hold $30 here. I don't know if this is going to hold, to your point about this being really beaten down. Boy, let me reset that here real quick. To the point of this being really beaten down, this is kind of what it looks like here on the daily. We had that big move, and then we've just kind of traded sideways. We've drifted to the low. So it looks like you're kind of thinking that, hey, maybe it's time for a trade back higher here. Maybe a trend line, a target that puts us in a 70 handle.
B. Riley recaptured the 200 EMA. It's trying to recapture VWAP. AMCI starting to sink. That's going to come down and test VWAP. This could be, where it gets pulled down further. The MACD has been trying to, tell us that this thing might be rolling over, and then it gets a bid back up again. This is the second time now where it might roll over. So maybe if it tests VWAP, the buyers will step back in.
Okay. By the way, Tesla has reversed from that 480 high that we just talked about. I'm still seeing continued flow in Tesla, but as mentioned previously, this has changed from upside call buying to, gosh, I almost want to say mostly put buying at this point. It does seem like this has changed now. Tesla 480 looks to be the intraday resistance here. That was a sweet 10-point move from the open, though.
Looks like the marijuana names are trying to push a little bit higher. Anything looking good? Because it seems like I'm just getting a lot of sideways action. VMAR is open. I think we looked at this one today.
VMAR?
Vision Marine Technologies. This is ripping. What do they do?
Penny stock, and this is actually ripping on pretty considerable volume too. Yeah, Joe, 480, 481 has been resistance for many days on Tesla indeed. And it looked today like we were going to try to break that, but nope, still resistance, it looks like.
So this one, VMAR, what is this moving on? Because if this isn't moving on anything, I've been kind of looking at anything that has to do with boats or submersibles as possibly running on the Russian sub getting blown up in the Black Sea.
Electric outboard powertrain systems, power boats, and related technology, and rents electric boats. So I don't see any news driving this one. And if X was working properly, I could probably tell you if there was anything recent on that, but it doesn't look to be.
Yeah, I don't know if that's what's moving what's moving it, but I was trying to find some other names that could possibly move in relation to that. I think the only one I came up with was KITT. But that's, that did get some movement early this morning. Took it up almost to $1, but
VMAR is electric outboards. I'm in the field. Seahorse, how is the VMAR product? Is it any good? Can we please beat the mention we mentioned earlier?
Huh?
I don't know what you mean by that. I'm thinking it might be a play on Beat itself, the actual ticker, but I'm not sure what he's trying to convey.
Looks to me like Roku, since it was being asked.
Okay, go at it. Here, I'll go to a bigger chart here for you for Roku.
I've kind of wondered if this company was ever going to pick up some kind of streaming service, because it seems like this is just only hardware, right? That's all they do, is they just have a hardware device that allows you to connect to TVs that stream, or so they can be streamed to. And a lot of TVs are integrating that technology into TVs themselves. So it seems like unless this has a streaming service attached to it, I don't know what else this is going to do. I mean, I haven't looked at this company in a while, and that's what I've known them for. So if they've moved on from that and they have something else working for them, then I can't really give a good opinion on it. But
they have their own panels, I believe, or their own TVs, I believe, that are designed to take Roku service.
Okay, but I don't know what more they can offer, where the growth is, because it seems like TVs are integrating what made this company special into all their TVs, and they don't have a streaming service, so they can't have that reoccurring revenue. I don't know. I mean, it looks to me like it's having a tough time just even getting above 110 and staying above there. I don't see any closes above that level since 2022, and we've been up above 110 on multiple occasions. Once at the end of October, the day after, and looks like just recently too, but no closes above 110. So it seems to me like 110 is a pretty tough spot for Roku to get through. Sorry, I can't give you more than that.
As far as Roku goes, we talked about this in the Stocks and Focus segment here when we opened the show. The CFO and the COO, who are the same person, Jetta Dan, sold 3,000 shares of stock. And actually, if you take a look at the insiders page here, you'll notice that it's actually this person with multiple sells. Dan was recently, but here there was another one here selling options. This was back in November, the end of November. There was another one in here. This was in October. So it looks like there's a lot of selling here, but it almost kind of feels like it's on a predetermined path. The other thing that happened here is this actually got a substantial upgrade. Here, let me see. What's that?
is finally breaking out of the sideways consolidation, recaptured VWAP. It's on its way to 3, where there's another seller in the way. So Resolve AI resolving higher.
Roku here, Morgan Stanley went from underweight to overweight and raised the price target from 85 to 135. So I agree with you, 13. It seems like 110 is next here on Roku.
I think I would just draw a line at 110. Look at all the price action it's interacted with since it came down here. That's what I'd be focused on. Looks like AMCI is also trying to get a little bit of volume here. It just came down to the VWAP. Don't know how great this is going to be, but the last time it did this, it went up to 1504. So,
and then VMAR, real quick here. I was asking Seahorse Trading about the VMAR product. He said it's outstanding, the best of its kind, and it even beats Mercury. It's up and coming technology. So Let me ask you, Seahorse Trading. This is a penny stock. In your opinion, because you kind of know the field, is this something that maybe sub $1 might make sense for an investment for a couple of years? Think we might be able to get $4 or $5 out of this name at some point in the future?
How do they only have 286,000 in revenue? I mean, if this is, I'm sorry if I sound like a smartass, but
no, I think you're trying to get to the bottom of it.
I'm trying to understand. Like, if this is an up and coming thing, like, are we just really that early and they just don't have a lot of sales happening yet? But about this product because this is your industry. So how are they selling? I guess because I'm looking at the revenue and it's not impressive. Okay, thanks, Cam.
VMAR is open now, by the way.
CR. I don't see what. That's not a ticker. Vero lost support again. Resolve AI still trying to get through 3. B. Riley with a nice recovery. It's back up to the 65 EMA.
Boy, that quantum news got sold here, at least in QBTS. Let's see how IONQ is doing. Same deal, and I would guess Rigetti's the same thing here. Wow, Rigetti actually went green to red. Shoot, I took this off, and we should have been looking at RGTZ for that. There was probably a trade here. This one I would have felt better with than some of those movers that we had earlier.
Yeah, it looks like RGTZ.
Look at this RGTZ. Damn.
It may end up just breaking through that pre-market high of 23.53. And if that happens, there's a bit of a trend. I think we already broke through the trend line. Let me see here. Yeah, we did a while ago. Okay, I'm going to delete that. It looks like we're just coming up into an area where there might be a lot of sellers for RGTZ, in which case it's going to be a demand zone for Rigetti. But this for RGTZ, this area between 25 and 27.50, looks like there might be some trouble for the upside.
Good mention here. Market totally rolling over. And we actually did take out the pre-market lows. It actually looks like we're hunting lower here now. If I go back to the main chart here, remember we had the 50-day and the 20-day as some other support levels. Let me go ahead and pull those values here for you as we continue to trade through 680 to the downside. I've got 674 and 3/4, 674.75. That's your 50-day moving average. We're only 2 points away from that now. And I have the 20-day moving average right here. We're basically on the 20-day and we're giving it up right now. Yes, Jay, I did see that Chanos is short the data center names. That feels like a repeat from him shorting the internet exuberance back at the turn of the century. Kind of similar vibes, wouldn't you say? Let me actually see. Let me see. I'll see if I can get you a news story for that real quick, because the news story might have a bunch of other stuff in it. Let me see what I can find for you here. I could have sworn we had something on that this morning. Sorry, I don't have it handy here, Jay. But Jay says, yes, it does feel very similar. Okay.
Well, so you're saying that this is, the time to get into Vision Marine Technologies. I think that it just, for me, from looking at the financials of it, I still have a little bit of concern. They also just filed to sell common stock, and there's a mixed securities shelf they have. They put a Form F3 out, so maybe after they do that offering, it might be a good time. I think that's what let me just see if they just did that or not.
First of all, some register rings are due here. Boy, I knocked that off my keyboard. Sorry about that. Register rings here for those of you scalping VMAR. Good stuff. Daniel, 10-cent scalp on $1 stock. That's not bad. Did that pretty quick.
Yeah. I think I would wait out the capital raise, and then it might be a better time for this.
Here we go. So I have, this is not the story that I had seen earlier, but this will suffice for what we're talking about here right now. Chanos discussed why he thinks the dot-com bust 2.0 could be coming, as he explained one bearish bet he's doubling down on. Big short bet on legacy data centers in 2022. Describing the old cloud data center business as crummy with a very little return on capital business, and it's highly capital intensive. So there's your bullet points for the Chanos data center short.
So... Because so I've got two schools of thought here happening with that now. He's talking about legacy data centers, basically the old ones that everybody was using for the iCloud and things like that, right? So those data centers are more on the storage side, not so much AI and processing, right? Are they gonna have to replace those or upgrade those data centers? Because it seems like that's both bearish and bullish in a sense. Like, you're going to have, these old data centers are going to, either get shut down or replaced with new ones. But those new ones are going to still need more hardware, or that they upgrade these existing data centers so that they're more up to date, that's still going to kind of be bullish for some of these hardware companies, is it not?
Not so fast. From the same article link, Chanos said he's even less convicted on the newest version of the data centers, those that host GPUs or rent out computing power to AI company. Quote, it's basically a commodity business, particularly as everybody's building them. And our view to clients has been the magic and the money is going to come from what the chips produce ultimately, not where they reside. So it sounds like he doesn't like that either, thinking that the end product might be where there's not necessarily where the chips are being used.
Okay, so where is he bullish then?
Chanos, bullish?
Okay. I mean, we've gone on a pretty big run. I wouldn't be surprised if a pullback, but I think we're still pretty early in this whole AI cycle. I mean, it's been going on for some time, but I still think that we're just getting started.
He went on to say the first is that hosting GPUs is a low margin, low return on capital business. And the second is that any data center buying the GPU themselves must be making a bet on depreciation.
Okay.
Chanos' own estimate is that those GPUs could end up obsolete or not fast enough for clients within 5 years. Remember, CoreWeave CEO said 6 to 7 years.
Mm-hmm. And now we have some of these quantum names rallying again, it looks like.
So anyway, decent discussion there on everything that's going on there. Amanda says, I don't agree with this thesis. I think that there will be winners and losers in the AI space, but everyone is going to try to do it themselves for a few more years before they start subcontracts.
Yeah, because the way it sounds like, and I have to read this for myself so I can, get a better understanding.
Sure.
But from what it sounds like you're telling me is that he just doesn't think that we're going to be building as many data centers, or we're not. Like, what is he getting at here? Because it seems like he's like, oh, we should just completely abandon this whole idea of building data centers.
I think what he's saying there is that he feels as if like the amount of hype and profits that these companies are going to see are not what everyone's making it out to be. And then that probably dovetails with how much CapEx is being spent. He probably thinks that's too much too. I'm just trying to infer based on what I'm reading here, but it seems like the profit targets, like the greatness of AI, doesn't seem like he buys it at all.
Okay. I think I understand what he's getting at here. And I think he's probably not looking it through a lens of he might be, but everybody's going to be, having to rank compute at some point.
This is interesting here. Amanda goes on to say, and I strongly, in all caps, as if she is just saying something bad about the Bears, I strongly disagree with the obsolescence timeline. Will they make faster ones? Sure. But will they also build faster algos that do not need much compute? Black Mamba says the depreciation narrative is woke, regardless of 5 or 7 years, it won't affect return on invested. Jay says, I'm old fashioned. I just look at the price and a lot of the names in the data centers are rolling over.
VMAR is all to the downside.
VMAR, let me put it up here.
Yeah, it's all to the downside. But hey, this is why we have a market.
Yeah, I love the back and forth. I learn more from back and forth discussions than anything else. That's 13. I'm pretty sure that you're in the same boat there. That's why I love happy hour so much.
I mean, what are the? I don't want to say what are the data center stocks, because it's when you think of the data center stocks, I'm thinking now of like these locations that have all of these servers and ducting and lots of electrical power being used. I'm not thinking of the chips themselves. I'm thinking, or some of the components that go in there. I'm thinking of the companies that own this real estate footprint and are paying to have them there. So is this something like EQ? It's EQIX, right? That he'd probably be short on, and that's probably why it's down today. I mean, that's just kind of where I would go here. I'd be looking at, I guess, these data center REITs. VMAR held it down, yeah. AMCI also getting mentioned. That's still trying to push back up into the 14 handle. It's right there.
Yeah, this sure is. All right, BRB 1 sec 13.
No problem. Looks like MSOS is coming back up. AZI, this is not doing a whole lot. Vero trying to recapture the trend line, coming down to VWAP though. This might be rolling over actually. We'll see if it can hold VWAP. If it loses that, then I think this comes in much lower. Probably comes down to about 230 if we lose VWAP there. Resolve AI, resolving higher still. Last 5 minutes was taking a little break, but now we're actually past 10 minutes was taking a little break. Now we're pushing higher. It looks like $3 is the big level to get over there. There's a seller in the way. Need to see some more volume to chew through all of those orders. And AMCI still trying to push higher, but the MACD keeps telling me that this thing wants to roll over. So I don't know that I want to take a trade in AMCI with the way it's losing momentum. Meanwhile, B. Riley is still trying to push higher. Actually, it just made a new session high, all the way up to 489, 490. And wouldn't you know it, there's a large seller in the way at 490. Take him out, we'll hit the trend line. Maybe. Actually, we might come up to 5 first before we hit the trend line. There's probably going to be some psych resistance there. Other than that, not liking the way a lot of the stuff the movers are looking. Seems like Resolve AI is the only one that has any kind of hope right now, and that's moving slowly.
Take care of yourself, Wisdom.
Take care, Wisdom. People trying to make an attrition battle where TPUs are. I mean, yeah. So I don't think that the whole AI trade is done. It's going to have back and forth, and we're just dealing with one of the backs right now.
I was going to say it taking a little bit of a break is no problem at all, frankly. So I'm with you there. I don't think it's over by any stretch.
No, the .com bubble took years to form, and it took years to resolve lower as well. So I still think that we're pretty early with the AI bubble. I know a lot of people talk about it with how many moves the hardware has, but I think this goes on into the 2030s, to be honest.
Yeah, I think you're probably right about that. Marty with an interesting question here. NASDAQ has, I'm very curious on the group here. I think we'll probably have a wide range with the group that we have here on a daily basis. Marty's saying NASDAQ to file for near 24-hour stock trading to meet global demand. That's per Reuters. Is this a good thing or not? So basically, the stock trading is going to be open for 23 hours per day on the weekday. You get an hour break, which is funny to me. From what I understand, this is more for international traders, right? Like I would love to get Zach's opinion on this. Zach, I don't know if you're still out there, but for those of you that join us from Europe or just other places around the globe, I know we've got some folks from Australia in here, which is like a different day than what it is today. I think it's mostly for them. So the way I would look at it is that, to me, like it's not going to change anything for me. Like I'm not gonna give up my evenings and just start trading. I guess maybe it's nice to have that option, but I'm certainly not going to change anything here. I'd be curious, are any of you going to change your habits at all based on that? Marty, I would think at this point with all the technology, it's probably a nothing burger.
Yeah, I kind of think that if anything, you're probably going to see a lot more limit orders. But beyond that, I'm not exactly sure how much it's going to change.
Daniel says, I think it's a bad idea because I need moments when the market is asleep. That, Daniel, I get that. And for me personally, like I need to take my mind off of some of this stuff. Like it starts for me at like 5 o'clock in the morning. By the time I get to 6 p.m., I've done 12 hours of doing nothing but focusing on the market. I need a reset.
Yeah, I don't want to trade 23 hours a day. It doesn't sound appealing to me, and I love doing this. Ooh, BDRX, a big old move down. I wonder what happened there. I have a suspicion. Let's see if it's true.
Let me bring BDRX up here. Jay saying, if I had to guess, it would be very illiquid. That would be my guess too. Wiss says, on a Friday night, Ryan might have a bottle of red, might make you take some trades. I don't know if that's a good thing though, Wiss. I don't know if wine trading is the best idea.
Are you going to start a stream called Blind Trading with Ryan?
Tiny Pie says, you guys don't want to be on for 24/7? That's weak. You guys did not disappoint with this one. Marty, good question for discussion, by the way. Really good question for discussion.
Yeah, I think the consensus is that there's goods and bads. I would like there to be maybe a longer period of downtime with the market, so that not everybody's like constantly on it and letting things or making things happen. But it's just going to have to be changing our approach. We're going to have to change the way we look at stocks and how they move, and it might take a lot more discipline. It's probably going to take a lot more limit orders, I would think. So we'll see. Resolve AI is still resolving higher. It's now above 3. If this keeps going, we might end up taking out the pre-market high of 318 and printing some new highs. And if that happens, sorry, go ahead.
No. I thought you were done.
I was going to say, if that happens, we do have some upside levels here. It looks like 325 would be next. And I still like that 65 EMA. That's going to be up at 365.
No, I'll tell you, this is a really good example of why being patient around that open. This thing looked terrible when we opened. And now, after the selling has been exhausted, just kind of being patient, waiting, buying volume to flow in, you actually got yourself something here. I might have spoke a little too early there in RZLV.
VMAR also getting hammered here as well, giving back pretty much half. It just cut it right in half there almost on its way down. This looks like it could be coming in lower. And I don't want to say this isn't great or anything, but VMAR, if this is going to be a good new technology or up and coming technology, and looking at the balance sheet and the financials of this company, I think I still want to wait for them to raise some more capital before I jumped into this. But it's very interesting to me, so it's on my radar now.
Okay. Yeah, I'm interested too. Look, if you say that this is new technology that's going to be great for the industry, the whole thing about the drone angle for Ondas was basically on that. Like, this is new technology that's going to change the way things are done, and that trade has worked. So I'm interested in this, even though it's a penny stock.
Barrow, this is pushing through the trend line again. It's trying to get up to 280. That's the session high.
This is an interesting anecdote here from Janet. Janet says stores used to all be closed on Sunday. People said that they wouldn't shop on Sunday. And when the laws were changed over time, people did, in fact, shop on Sundays. We are easily manipulated. That's definitely true. Janet, I think you're definitely right here. I think as the longer that's available, the more and more people will kind of adapt to it. Indeed, I think that this is more trying to target international traders in our market. But I think you're going to have folks stateside do the same thing.
I mean, we need more money to come from somewhere. We have everybody's already invested in all this stuff. So we need to open our markets, apparently. Open our markets up, have more foreign money come in. See those NVIDIA prints go higher, I guess.
Nights and weekends are reserved for sports betting. That's my kind of guy right there. Although I don't take sports betting seriously, I do take the market quite seriously. And someone asked about Chow earlier, Chow Cloud International. Nice that it's making a move here. This was a penny stock earlier today. I don't necessarily have a view on this one. This is another China name, isn't it?
Oh, this is the one that that looks like a Harry Potter scar.
The chart looked like a Harry Potter scar?
Yeah, it looks like this one got hit with the killing curse. Just look at the daily. Boom.
Oh, yikes.
So, yeah, remember we talked about this one last week and how this one just, was a complete scam, and it was up at 12 and it got absolutely hammered all the way down to under 2. Great that that's, people can make a trade off this, but I wouldn't be holding on to this one.
Yeah, I don't like this.
Okay.
Cannabis stocks still.
That might not get old anytime soon.
No, it might not. Chowing down the Chinatown.
Yeah. AMCI off the dip. Well, let's see if that's going to do anything here. I mean, I don't know. This thing is finally getting that momentum to the downside that the MACD was hinting at. Lost VWAP. This is, I think, the most it's traded under VWAP all morning since the open. So it can recapture it in this current candle. Maybe there's a hope for the recovery here, but I'm thinking this is going to come down and test the 65 EMA down around 1150. Resolve AI trying to push through 310. Just took out the seller there. We're almost at the 318 high, and then this thing could end up either being, in this pattern can set up to either be like a cup with handle or it can be a scallop. So if it's a scallop, it's going to keep going. If it's a cup with handle, we'll find some resistance around 318.
And might you also get a pullback?
If it's a cup with handle.
Yeah, if it's on the cup and handle scenario, yeah.
That's
maybe the pullback towards 3 there. All right.
Typically, when you get what I measure, because it's the way I learned is that when you're looking at cup with handles and you're trying to measure the length of the handle, generally I take it's a 30% move from between the low point of the cup and the high point of the cup. So if you take the low and the high, and then you subtract that and multiply it by 30%, that's about where the amount of the pullback is going to be.
That's a nice little tip. Thank you, 13.
Mm-hmm.
Seeing some more upside call buying here on Tesla while it's starting to curl up, but this is way more muted than the buying that we saw earlier today.
BDRX going lower. Vero still trying to hold above the trend line. MSOS looking for 6 again. It's was brought down to the VWAP around 575. It's recovering nicely. It'd be great to see Resolve AI just push through 318 and go higher. But there are a lot of sellers on the way up here, especially at 320.
I was going to say this would have actually made for a fairly decent trade here today. Just had to be patient on it. SPY, by the way, lost 680. Still holding the after hours lows here at 677.5, but we lost 680 there.
Wonder if
all the indices in the red.
Wonder if Riley's going to try and make a move here. It's kind of forming a bit of a bull pennant. Don't know if we're going to get this resolution here, but if we do, it's going to take us to the trend line we drew. I think AMCI is trying to get some support around 1220 and get a lift back over VWAP. Vero, it did make a new session high of 282. We're still above the trend line, and it's trying to push higher.
Webcoin mentioning SRXH here. Jackson going on CNBC later today per his ex. That's Eric Jackson, right? House Solutions are trading higher if the company announced it signed an agreement to acquire EMJ Crypto Technologies.
AMCI, we're capturing VWAP, getting some volume.
So Eric Jackson is going to head the crypto treasury, and he's going to discuss this. This stock is a penny stock that's up 100%. But Webcoin, good mention here. This one is he's going to come on CNBC here. Vero,
just made a new session high. Ran into a seller at 286. You have that guy there. You also have another one at 290. Several different tranches of sellers above all this, all the way up to 3.
Okay.
Just waiting to see if we get similar movement with Resolve AI. That'd be great if we did.
Thank you, Webcoin.
Riley's still holding above 65 EMA, but man, volume in a lot of these names looks like it's kind of fading. Hasn't been great volume since the open. I mean,
no, it hasn't.
Steady decline in a lot of these names.
And in fact, what are we at here on the SPY volume for today? Just to Couple hours in here. 24 mil. What do you think? You think we finish over 60 today, 13?
60 what?
Million shares traded on SPY.
I mean, it's kind of been the case lately. We've been seeing more than the average, the 100-day average for the past, I think,
last couple of
days. Let's see here. So yesterday we did, the day before we did, and the last 2 days of last few days of last week we did. Before then it was more muted. But yeah, we've had a volume pick up over the past 4 or 5 days. VMAR trying to recover here. Let's see if we can get above VWAP.
That's right. The Medline, I'm seeing this on CNBC now. Medline IPOs today, doesn't it?
What does that company do?
Well, they're going to be the biggest. Apparently, they're going to be the biggest IPO of the year. Let me see if we had that here in the morning report. Maybe it's not today. I don't have that listed there. Maybe it's not today.
I don't know if AMCI has 2 employees.
Whisk, take care of yourself.
Take care, Whisk. Yes, I don't know if AMCI has 2 employees. That doesn't seem right to me. I don't think they do. Let's look. Wow. According to their LinkedIn, it's like 10 to 2.
And I'm sorry, Medline is going to IPO here today. Priced between 26 and 30. We'll see where it opens at. It's a medical supplier that deals with the medical device supply chain. 13.
I like medical devices. They've been doing pretty well.
Yeah.
I mean, unless there's some other company profile that I can look at, it says that it's according to its LinkedIn, it's 2 to 10 employees. AMC Robotics. That doesn't seem. It seems strange to me. AMCI though, well, it's as strange as it is. It's still getting a lift back over VWAP. VMAR, yeah, that was recovering as well. That's coming back up to VWAP. VWAP's at 77 cents. Getting MSOS approaching $6. So waiting for Resolve AI to resolve higher. And Riley does look like this wants to break back into at least 490, but I think it wants $5 as well. I just don't know about these. I think I'd be very careful trading these names today.
Yeah, I would too.
Almost any time.
I would be careful too. This hasn't felt great all day, to be honest, in terms of new trades here.
No, that it seemed like that jobs data kind of took some of the wind out of the market sales.
It initially traded up on the back of that data, but then reversed.
I guess we just need to wait and see what happens at the Bank of Japan. I think we still get some. Let's see, when is CPI? I think that's before the Bank of Japan's decision. Yeah,
it looks like this is trying to go higher. Boy, Nick's watching us from the plane on his way to Maui. Well, you get a 1-up for that. Enjoy your time in Maui.
Yes, we get CPI on Thursday, so that's probably going to be the next big event to watch for prior to the BOJ rate decision.
Yeah. We also get retail sale data there on Wednesday.
We didn't get it today, or yes? I thought we got it already.
I have it scheduled for Wednesday, U.S. retail sales. For today, I had the non-farm payroll for November and the unemployment rate and the services manufacturing PMI.
I thought we had retail sales that was supposed to come out. Maybe it is Wednesday. Let me look. I knew we were getting something. Okay. So retail sales month over month. We had that yesterday or today. I mean.
And then regarding the Bank of Japan decision, you're expecting a 25 bips raise there? Because I think the danger is if we go any higher than that, then we might look at accelerating the carry trade unwind.
Yeah, I think I don't know about the amounts. I think it's just in terms of yes, no, or stay. And I think staying where it's at would probably be better for the markets, so that it could give it more time to unwind that trade if they're still talking about raising them. But if they do it now, then I think you're right. We could see an acceleration of that unwind. It might make the markets go down more before we see a recovery. Well, MSOS recaptured 6 and is doing quite well. Resolve AI still hasn't resolved higher. We might be getting that cup with handle, although I would have liked to see this get back up to above 315.
BMNR getting mentioned here. I noticed that the T-Rex ETF is up. BMNR, maybe that's bouncing a little bit.
Yeah, it's gonna be another day where we just don't want to force anything, and
yeah, that's where I'm at.
Get out.
Agree.
Get in, get out, and maybe go touch some grass. Yeah, let's get those likes up too. Maybe the market will turn around then.
That would be awesome.
VMAR is gearing up for a move. Says Daniel. Let me look at VMAR here. I think that move happened and it came up to the VWAP, and the VWAP's going to be the big area that it has to clear. And if it can't, I think it comes back down more. So right here is where is really important with VMAR. We need to recapture that VWAP, or I think we go lower from here. PDRX, this thing just absolutely got slammed, and it's trying to recapture the 200 EMA on the 5-minute chart, and it's probably not going to be able to do that. I think this goes down under 550. Well, there's VMAR pushing through VWAP right now. It's okay.
My screen, I was trying to refresh Pro, and the thing was dying here, so the screen share got kicked.
We still have 3.5 minutes left on this candle, so let's see if we can close over that VWAP. And if we do, maybe we do get that recovery. If we can't, then I think we come back in. What are the implications, results of unwinding the in-carry trade? A very bloody market. Now look at the August 5th. That's 2024.
That's if the unwind is dramatic. Because like some of the data that we're seeing now, the unwind, which has already happened or already started to happen, seems very orderly, to be quite honest with you. Like if you look at, so I had some notes on this here. Like for example, currency movements, those are all moderate. Like the USD JPY, it's down 8% from the July peaks. Like it has not been getting crushed. Yen strengthening seen since August 2007 or March 2020 is completely absent. These are the last times we saw some of this. Japanese banks are actually rallying. So if you take a look at some actual Japanese banks, they're trading higher, in some cases double digits from November 20th. All of these things show that a massive, quick unwind of the carry trade probably not happening. Now, to 13's point, that could all change depending on what the rate decision is. And I think that's the big kind of unknown that we're waiting for here this week.
Yeah, because it's going to be people liquidating their positions and pulling their money out. So it's going to affect equities. It's going to affect bonds. It's going to affect a lot of things. It's going to be bloody.
And to the point about Japanese banks there, Japanese banks should be selling off as overseas investments get liquidated and repatriated. That's not what we're seeing, just to be clear. So we'll see how this all shakes out here. I know everyone's kind of, rightfully so worried about this, but we'll see. We'll see what the actual result of this is.
Yeah, folks, be careful with this low volume day today that we're having in a lot of these names. Volume was great in the morning, and then it just absolutely got sucked right out of the room. So be careful. Don't be a hero. Same thing as yesterday. We haven't seen the recovery happen yet, although it'll be curious to see how today's broader market price action ends up happening here, because for the time being, it's a little bit neutral this morning. But we have a whole day ahead of us, and there could be news that comes out from just about anybody that could can move this, not just about anybody, but let's say that we do get a truth or some kind of announcement from Benzinga or somebody going on CNBC and saying something.
Yeah.
All these things could happen. So let's keep that in mind. Resolve AI. Here we go. I think this is going to give us the move we're looking for here.
I'll tell you what, at least we got one of these movers to be pretty good. 13, we're out of time here. Real quick, Daniel's asking, what is the carry trade? I mean, simply put, that's where investors borrow money in Japanese yen, where it has a low interest rate, and then they invest that money into a different currency that has a higher interest rate, and they make money that way. Then they have to readjust as those interest rates change. That's a very simplistic way. 13, you probably have a more technical way of describing that. We've talked a lot about that on Happy Hour, but that's basically the gist of it. All right. We're out of time here today. Good stuff. I know it was kind of a sleeper day in terms of the market, and that's all right, though. We've still made it fun, and we still made it informative. So I hope that you all have a wonderful rest of your Tuesday. 13, any closing words?
Nope, I already said what I got to say. Just be careful today. Don't be a hero. And we'll be back here tomorrow to find some more names that we can trade for maybe just the first 5 minutes of the market, then talk about other stuff. So until then, folks, I'll see you later.
Yeah, really good stuff, 13. Good job, as always. We will see you tomorrow, and we will see you again on Happy Hour. Remember, if you want to trade with the group all day long, be sure to check out Benzinga Pro. The Happy Hour room is moderated by 13 and will continue to be that way and goes 24/7. We're out of time here today. We'll be back at this again tomorrow. Remember, no Anne Marie as she is traveling, so we're done here for today. Stay green, stay safe.